Starting soon. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Timothy Von Rieden, better known as Von Art Online, and I'm joined today by Josh, my partner in crime. And today's weekly Wednesday live stream follow along tutorial, whatever we want to call them, is going to be on drawing feet. Now, this isn't a foot fetish stream. I'm not going to be sexualizing them. It's literally studying them on an anatomical and proportional level. And I feel that this is more overlooked than hands, and it's something that I think we as artists should practice more. And you don't really see a lot of barefoot characters, or you don't see a lot of feet in art much nowadays. But if you think back to the masters of the Renaissance area or timeline, a lot of the great cathedral art, they were all barefoot. Like Virgin Mary was always barefoot. Jesus was always barefoot.
And weren't they like usually like actual more closer to the
Sometimes, I mean,
viewers
especially if
and
it was a statue. I mean, yeah, the feet are like the closest thing to the people.
yeah.
And you don't see that much anymore. I even thought about doing more art showing feet because I just feel like it's not. Well, I guess maybe because it's become so much of a different realm itself that I think that's why people avoid feet maybe as well. But we're gonna take a good look on focusing on them today, and I think trying our best to understand their purpose and their proportion, because I think this often gets mistaken. It won't be so much of a tutorial stream, like I won't be doing the anatomy underneath. I think I might save that for a legit tutorial one-off that is like pre-recorded. So today we're going to do more of a study. And the way that we do these studies, if you're new to these follow-along streams, is we're going to do a 10-minute warm-up in which you just draw feet that you find on your own. Just go to Google or Pinterest and just type in feet. And then the 90-minute study will be on the foot reference that you can download below on the Discord. And it's going to be the one that you see on the screen. It's like right below me. So that is a picture. It's my own feet because I didn't want to get in trouble with copyright nonsense. So don't be weird about it. We're drawing my feet. And we're going to take a look at, I try to get a picture of the underside of a foot and slightly on the top side because there's a difference. Obviously, the underside usually has way more wrinkles, and I wanted a picture to capture both of those. So we're going to be taking a look at that. So if you want to follow along, I'll give you guys a few minutes to get ready, get your pencils, get your paintbrushes, whatever you're using today, because then at the end, I do a mini critique. And I know last time it was like a 30-minute critique, so I'm going to try to knock it down a bit, where I take the drawings or the paintings or whatever medium you're working in, you can submit it on the Discord below under the follow along stream channel. And then I will bring them up on the end of the stream to do a mini critique. And hopefully this will help strengthen not only your guys' understanding of feet, but maybe seeing other people's critiques will help you even deeper that understanding of what you could either improve on or what you want to avoid. So I'm going to do my best critique. Obviously, I'm not perfect, and there's going to be things that I'm going to be able to even critique about my own submission, but I think this is a good learning experience for everyone involved. So yeah, and if you want to join that growing Discord community, like I said, the link's below. And oh yeah, I do want to give a shout out to
Fem.
was it Fem's?
Yeah, the Von Art stream bingo.
Fem made a stream bingo. You can find that on the same channel. It's pretty great actually.
I like the.
I did one of the things.
Tips.
One of them's actually.
Oh yeah, you did.
There we go. So if you're playing along, there's your bingo slot. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. So
I feel like
I'm gonna pull up.
So we're good at that one.
I'm gonna get the timer back on screen. I forgot to do this before the stream. So as you guys are getting all your stuff, let me go ahead and.
Oh yeah, we always forget about that.
Right. I mean, thankfully we got a little bit of time.
Unclick that though. Like unclick from there you go.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because it always scooches over.
Oh.
Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, I just cut off the side maybe a little bit.
I guess I'm surprised it auto cropped it.
Maybe it remembers.
It just picked it up. That's weird. There we go.
Nice.
Weird. I mean, I'll take it for sure. Will you be able to remember the timing then?
Yes. Do you want me to? Do you actually want to scooch that over to this antique? No, not that. Just the timer part.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
right in front of me.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay. Oh, you guys got all your tools. Now remember, for the warm-up drawings, I'm just gonna use loose paper. I don't want to be wasting good paper. Oh, we're gonna get the third hand effect again.
Do you want me to
There we go.
here? Do you want me to hold the mouse though? Because I feel like then I can reset it while you're going. How we did it last week.
Well, I guess yeah. All right. Well,
Thank you.
I need this.
Oh yeah, get your drawing up.
Okay. And if you have any comments or questions along the stream, if you're not drawing alongside us, you just want to have casual chat, put at Vonart or put at Schwab Plays Games before your comment or question. That way we can see it in between the drawing and the comment section. Thankfully, I have Josh with me today, so it won't be as bad. Sometimes when I'm doing my own streams by myself, I get lost in my rants. So, okay, are you ready to do the 10 minutes?
Yes. Hang on.
Here, wait. Actually, hold on,
cannot
babe.
see with that. It's like reflecting the light.
I need the Pinterest drawings. Oh, geez. There we go. Okay, so you guys get ready. There you go.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so as I like to start off, warm-up drawings, if you've come to these before, you probably know, I try to focus more on the shape and the overall fluidity of the gesture rather than the actual details of the subject matter, whatever it is. So doing these, don't worry so much if it looks perfectly like a foot or if there's things that are a bit exaggerated. I think I'm going to do more of like a value study for these.
Eric Ziva says, I wonder what this will do to my recommendation after looking at a few pics.
The risks we all take as artists. I always get nervous whenever I want to draw a kid in a drawing, because if I Google like child pose, I mean, you just get some weird things.
Wait, Ella's asking, can we find warm-up somewhere, or is it the reference photo?
No, so for these, you can find your own. I honestly just looked at Pinterest and just typed in feet poses, and I'm just using references of someone else's feet here. But like I said, these don't matter too much. These are just to warm up your hand, get into the motions of drawing. And even if you don't want to draw feet right now, I mean, I would recommend drawing feet as your warm up. But if you're particularly like, no, I'm going to draw a dog during the warm up, you can do whatever you want. But I think just getting into the mindset of drawing a foot would be better, as we're going to be doing a foot study.
Bookstuff says, whose feet are those? They're too small to be male feet.
Ah!
So they can't be yours. Those are Tim's beautiful feet. Tim has long feet, but they're like very narrow. You have like thinner feet, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've always had what my sister called, our family has chicken legs. So all of us have very slender, lean legs. Can you see my drawings? So I'll make sure I'm not off screen. Okay.
Yep, you're good. Oh,
So-
hey, Jensen.
Hey, Jensen. Hey.
Thanks for kicking my hand stuff. I appreciate the advice.
Of course. That's what these are for. I was telling Josh, after the stream's over, I'm going to make him watch the final episode of the new Adventure Time creator show, Midnight Gospel. And it's one of those shows where even when we watched the first episode, I was like, I don't know if I liked that. And it's very divisive. I think because of the presentation style, where it's kind of a podcast and then it has unrelated events and scenarios happening in the background. And it isn't until the episodes get to like halfway does it really find its footing. Or its footing. It really find its footing. And I think the final episode is the best one. So if you guys are interested in an adult animation show where it kind of talks about more trippy things or existential and not necessarily philosophical, but they interview people that are very deep in their own way of thinking or how they either meditate or how they view dying or whatever it might be, like these kind of heavier subjects. And you don't have to take it as fact or as, your own truth. But I think they did a good job, especially with the later episodes, on giving more perspective on someone else's life and how they go through it, and especially the final episode when he interviews his mom. I just thought it was very beautiful. It was very touching. And if you don't like the first couple episodes, honestly, skip to the last one because a lot of the ones in the middle are kind of the same flavor, except for episode 5, I think was pretty great. But I would then skip to the end if you're really not feeling it, because if there's anything you can take away from it, it'll be that final episode.
I think I would do it. I think I would be better if it was all a podcast. I think I have a hard time because there's a lot of visuals going on and a lot of things happening. That it's hard for me to like focus on. They're just having like a chill conversation while things are happening.
That are crazy.
Yeah, that are crazy on the cartoon part of it. So it's just kind of a weird. I feel like my brain doesn't work well with that because I feel like I focus on one or the other too much. Simon, hello.
Hey Simon, how you doing? How you doing?
Friends.
I think that's why it's weird for me to even recommend it per se, because I don't know if I fully enjoyed it, because the earlier episodes, I'm gonna rewatch it because I think Josh is right. They're so disjointed and disconnected that it's hard to either pay attention to, or it's hard to pay attention to both, and you find yourself paying attention to one or the other.
Oh yeah, well that's where I'm confused too. Like I wonder if maybe there's like a deeper meaning in the cartoon part of it.
I know, that's why I kind of want to rewatch it and be like, did I miss? I'm sure I missed a lot because there's a lot that goes on. It's never steady. Well, some of the later episodes it kind of finds its steadiness, but the first like 3 or 4 are just non-stop background animation and noise.
We are at 5 minutes, just so everyone knows. Okay.
Actually, can I borrow this for a second?
Oh yeah.
Some different feeds. All right. And I guess I should mention, I am literally at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I am waiting though until after my Kickstarter as kind of a reward to myself for finishing the Kickstarter. So I am in the Shinra building. I know that this is probably the end, but I'm going to wait until after next Wednesday. But it's been amazing. I think, weirdly enough, the worst part of the game has been Cloud, because he's so cold. And it's, I know it's a personality trait of like, oh, the lone wolf. But being the main character, I think it gets a little frustrating having all these other characters that are so dynamic and so well fleshed out, and they have such a dynamicism to them. And then to have the main character that just feels like a potato that will not soften up, you just get a little frustrated after a while. But it's totally worth playing. The battle system is excellent. I think switching between the characters is fluid. So if any of you are interested in that type of RPG game, it's one of the best. And I was really excited. I just found out it's the 3rd best-selling game on PlayStation 4 already.
Oh, wow! Like best, like in overall.
Or
is it just like this year?
No, it's the 3rd best launch. I don't know what that means though.
I guess probably like how, like Titanic had that record for a while. I guess maybe the same thing. Like maybe the launch, like the first 3 days or something.
Oh, maybe.
Sales, but I mean, it came at a good time too.
All I know is it's doing really well, and that excites me because I want them to keep making more of this type of RPG, where it really does feel fleshed out in such a departure from like Final Fantasy 13 and 15, where it had a lot of these cold moments that didn't feel connected, and there wasn't a lot of warmth or heart to it. Where this game has a lot of heart, and there's a lot of good stuff going on within it.
Yeah, you feel like you get connected to the characters.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, Simon says, I'm doing awesome. Hope you guys are doing well.
Oh, yeah.
Been playing some Final Fantasy. It's been good.
Everyone likes Cloud.
Oh, yeah, Cena. Everyone likes Cloud. Have seen no one complain or getting frustrated about Cloud.
No one in the game seems to be getting frustrated with them, even though everyone's like, oh, Cloud, like, brum, brum, brum. I'm always like, well, the thing is like, I'm rooting for him. I want him to be a cool character, because I mean, not only is he a gorgeous character, but I think what he could be to the rest of the characters could be so deep, and especially with his connection to Aerith and Tifa. But I'm not feeling it. I'm
Well,
not
it's like
feeling
I
it.
feel like they've been like they opened up his shell just enough for a little bit, where like he's been a little bit more open to things. But it's definitely they're taking their time with it, which I guess is maybe we're gonna get warm gushy cloud eventually.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm holding out for because since this is only the first game out of a multi-part game series, I'm hoping that this is just a really slow burn and then by the end of the game, he really comes out of his shell and there's a character growth.
1 minute left.
It's almost like imagine watching Avatar The Last Airbender if you guys have seen it, and then Zuko always being the season one Zuko. Like to me, that's like a similar level of frustration I have with Cloud.
Oh, goodbye, Simon. Simon has to head out.
Bye,
It's like
Simon.
Ross says, anyone else just love how Tim says wolf? It's so cute. I
Wolf.
don't say it.
Oh,
Oh, because you say woof.
yeah,
I
a
don't know
wolf.
if I. Wait, say it again.
Ah, the wolf.
You do kind of woof. That's cute.
Oh, I feel pretty good about these little study warm ups.
15 seconds.
So yeah, as you can see, wait, am I still on screen?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So as you can see, I'm looking more at the shape. I hope you guys kind of did something similar. And you know what? I really like it working with this 3B. Sometimes you find a pencil where you're like, oh yeah, I really like working with that.
Time's up.
Time's up. Pencils down. Okay. So as Josh is going to reset the timer here, this is going to be a 90-minute foot study. So if you want to pull up the reference that I provided in the Discord, and we'll be looking at those. And since we have 90 minutes, this is our opportunity to look at capturing the forms, the foundations first, building up the values, and then looking at the secondary, and then eventually the tertiary details. And you can get into even like the hair, the nails, the wrinkles, like really define them in some areas. But remember, we're going to focus more on simplifying the shapes first. So don't get too obsessed with details in like the first 20, 30 minutes. Uh, it's always all about scope. So you want your scope to be really big when you started drawing, and then as you keep working, it should get smaller and smaller and smaller till eventually it's very small. You have a very small scope, and you're doing really fine details, and that is what we're gonna be doing today. So if you guys could get your paper ready on whatever you're gonna be working on, or if you're working digitally, just make a new canvas.
Do you mind typing in like 13 on there? 1300? That looks good. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna open up my foot.
Oh yeah, Drea says she likes the sound of the that Netflix show. Sounds like my kind of thing. I like going off and rants about random deep stuff. See, I do too. It's maybe it was more because when it comes to entertainment for me, I sometimes don't like when it's so like formal conversation. Because I like having deep talks. It just felt really weird to me, I guess, the format. Because I listen to so many podcasts that like I couldn't get out of my head that it's supposed to be a podcast, but it's got visuals with it. I don't know why. I think my brain's too like.
I ended up really
Has to
liking
be.
it, but it is frustrating, especially when you go into it and there's like the zombie attack, but they're never acknowledging it, and they're always just like walking around or like killing things or like shooting people in the face with a shotgun, but they're never talking about it. They're never
Yeah.
they never feel like they're in danger. So there's such a disconnect because you're listening to what they're saying, which is talking about the effects of drugs and on the mind, and is there such a thing as a bad drug, and I mean, only the first episode really deals with that. There's one episode that deals specifically with death. So then the interview literally interviews the personification of death. Uh, so there are some really good, deep conversations that are had, but it's definitely a distinct flavor of show. Okay, are we
All right.
ready?
Everyone all set?
Okay, everyone, here we
Hour,
go.
30 minutes on the
Hour and a
timer.
half.
We are starting in 3, 2, and make sure you have the reference photo up. 1.
So I'm gonna do something a little different. Wait, I need to make sure I can see.
Well, I didn't actually click anyways. We're good.
Oh, well, here we're right. Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little different. I think I'm gonna work with my 3B. I really enjoyed it during the warm up, And if there's even something I can take away from the show watching it last night is to, follow that intuition, or if something feels right, follow it. And working with this 3B just felt really good in the warm up. See how I immediately got tight right away? That's not what we want. Keep it loose when you start.
Is that like a habit for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm going to erase that so I can break free of that. Start with general shapes, the fluidity of the motion.
Oh, Felix did Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Oh, that actually I probably won't get that in the next coming weeks because I really would like to play that a lot.
Oh yeah, that's right. The new one came out.
Yeah, I keep like avoiding watching videos about it just because I really want to enjoy the new mechanics and stuff. Because like in the old one, remember how it was just distant? You could fight things. Where now they have like melee. You could fight close.
Oh.
It's supposed to be a little bit more fast paced, which I'm excited about.
Well, that's interesting.
Right? I loved the first game. But yeah, Drea was saying it's okay, Yvonne. I say rough instead of roof.
That's what I do. I don't say roof correctly. I don't say rough.
You say
roof.
Roof. I think you say rough.
Above us is the roof.
Yeah, rough.
That's how you're supposed to say it. No, roof.
Oh really? I say roof though too. Aren't you supposed to say roof?
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
I don't know.
I give up. I gave up with the English language.
Mona Lazart Creation says not sure I'll be able to make it to hour 30, but I'll try my best. Make sure you take breaks if you need one. It's okay. If you gotta use the bathroom.
If you gotta use the bathroom, definitely use the bathroom.
Drea, that's why will you be my spirit animal? Oh, of course I will.
Something that I've also been thinking about since watching that show too is the process that I do my art. I think this is a good conversation I want to have maybe while doing this because I think I can ramble a little bit on it. But I've gotten so swept up in doing commercial style art rather than doing more personal art. And I think after this card deck, I'm going to dive a little into my own psyche on what kind of art that I want to be creating. Because, I mean, the card deck, yeah, it was fun, but a lot of it just kind of felt like a weird flex on just like, look how I can draw pretty ornamentation and people. And even though it was initially done because I really like multiplayer solitaire and it comes from a genuine place, but the art definitely feels very static to me in a sense of, I'm not diving into the power that art can be, and I want to go back into that a bit more. And I think I've been so commercial the past few, like not even months, I want to say almost half a year, that I want to dive back into pieces that feel more personal. And I've been really feeling disconnected from myself, and I think that's why time has been going by really fast for me, where it feels like I'm watching myself in like an out of body, almost third person experience. And even my day to day, I think I have them so regimented that I don't feel as alive, if that kind of makes sense. Where I feel like a lot of my day to day has just been following the same routine, and it's become very pattern. But I don't want that to be forever because I think I realize it's boring, and I want my life to be exciting and have new adventures, and I want to go see things that I haven't seen before. I think sometimes there's an effort involved that doesn't always sound as appealing. I think as humans we want to be lazy by nature, so I have to like push myself to make the extra effort to get out there. But just something that I've been thinking about, and then the show really propelled it forward again of just make sure you are doing what you love. And I think when it comes to art, I think it's so easy to get swept away in the social media hoopla of wanting to get likes and followers and blah blah blah. So, just a weird reminder from me to you guys that you should definitely take care of yourself first and making sure that you're creating work that feels authentic and genuine to you, even if you don't think that it will be a commercial product.
I
So
think
yeah,
these cards will be nice for you to like be done with.
yeah,
It's
it's been weird.
a lot of time put into them, which is good, but I feel like it's been kind of not allowing you to, I guess, draw generally what you want to in that moment.
Well, even when I did the 300K giveaway, I did this dark fairy, and it was really fun coming up with a story for sure. But it's another instance of it's not like I mean, I guess on some level it is, but I want there to be more of myself within the art as like a human, like humanness to it, where someone that looks at it can maybe understand it and then maybe feel better about their own circumstance just based on a drawing. And I think that's why Miles gets such a good reputation with this art, because he draws these metaphors and analogies in a visual medium that people can understand and relate to. And I think sometimes I escape to a fantastical world as a way to um, show a likeness and show a comparison between life and what I'm going through. But I think sometimes having a visual analogy or metaphor represented in a way that is understood is something I want to explore more. So, yeah, that is my little Tim talk today on drawing feet.
Tim talks.
Tim talks.
That was a good Tim talk.
Well,
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. You've been exploring that more too, especially like outside of your art and how you can find enjoyment in life more too. I think as you're getting older too, you're starting to like think about that stuff more often.
I don't think I have. I feel like I've been so numb. I've just been kind of like floating. I think because I'm in like such an obvious transition period with like all my roommates that have moved out because they were like my close friends and they were a big part of what I would do on my day to day. And then obviously living with you and me and you starting to date, which was new for me obviously. And uh I think I'm still floating through that transition period because I don't know how you feel about these periods when you're actively aware that you're in a transition period. Sometimes I feel like I'm holding a fast forward button to get to the part where it's more settled, to get where it's um, the good parts, essentially. You know?
Drea says, "Oh, Tim, it's just a rough roof patch. It's
Yeah.
okay. You'll bounce back." Candor says, "I didn't notice that. By the way, I feel like you need some time for your art and you to have a mental talk."
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sad. I think sometimes when people talk about this kind of stuff, immediately the impression is, oh, they're depressed. I'm definitely not depressed, and I feel pretty not only joyful. I feel very lucky.
Oh, Astrid.
Oh, Astrid wants to come in and say hi.
Hi, sweetheart. Come here. Edgy, it's okay. Come here. Oh my goodness. Hi, Edgy.
Hi, Astrid. She thought we abandoned her.
Oh my goodness, it's okay. It's okay.
Astrid's one of our wonderful emojis.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, baby.
There you go.
And she's out.
Goodbye.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna take sort of a art break from doing commercial stuff because immediately I thought, oh, I can just jump into doing a tarot deck because that's the most popular request that I'm always asked. And I don't think I should jump into that right away. I think it's another commercial product that, yeah, it'll probably do well and financially it'll help me. And, having financial security is always a good feeling, knowing that, your art is able to support you. But I don't think my heart would be in it. I think I would be drawing very pretty, very structured things, but it wouldn't have a soul. And I think I need to dive into finding that in my art again before going into a project because then I think my tarot deck could have a soul. I don't think it has to be a commercial product, but I think if my heart isn't in it, it'll show in the end result.
Eric Ziva says this sounds a bit like how you described the writings in your first art book, although less depressed.
Oh, you have my first book. You're one of the early birds. Uh, yeah, it's it's yesterday I watched this interview with Adele, and she was talking about how the bigger your career gets, the smaller your life becomes, and I think that really resonated with me too, because the more that I have been focused on my career and growing that, I feel like the less time I make for people or my friends or my family. And yes, my career has done pretty well for myself and Instagram's been going great, but at what cost and is it worth the price? And there's this balance. And I would say it has been worth the price for the most part because I think drawing has been very therapeutic for me. I oftentimes have a weird meditation zone I get into when I draw, and it's very relaxing. But uh, how do I even describe this? I think moving forward, I realized okay, I've made it enough. I've been successful enough where I can kind of sustain myself. I think I have to push a little further. But eventually, I'm going to get to a point where I could rely on online sales. I wouldn't have to do as many cons. And then what would I do with my time? And I could either dive even further into pushing my career and making more art, or I could take more trips with Josh and I could do more things that I haven't done before and experience more of the world before I am physically unable to do it. And I might be in a nursing home and I don't want to be surrounded with a sense of regret because I've never felt that in my life. I haven't really felt regret before. And well, I felt it in high school. You know how when you get caught when you say something bad about someone and they're like right behind you? I literally had that experience. So I think though that taught me though not to do that. So I
Oh
don't
my
regret
god,
it.
I had that experience too.
You did?
Yeah, I actually
When?
called the kid that I did that to. I called him like years later and apologized about it because I still felt guilty. Like my apology at the time did not make sense, but we used to remember on the DS how there was the Picto chat on
Yes.
DSs.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
used to just have play with our DSs during class. So we'd all like get our books on the desk and like have our DS, and we'd actually Picto chat during class. And
Oh my
I
god.
completely like was talking about the kid, and as I pressed send, he entered the chat. So the first thing he saw when he joined was my like really mean comment about him. That was the meanest I ever probably was. I felt so bad.
So you called him?
I did actually call him, yeah. And then my parents, we had like we had a big meeting too. Actually, right after it happened, his mom came over with him, and like my
What?
parents were there too. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Dang, Schwa.
it was bad.
You mean.
That was really mean. I feel bad. Um, oh yeah, Tria says, I don't think you're depressed. You're just recalibrating and finding your true north, and that means taking a deep look inward.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. That's exactly how I see it too.
I feel like that's like a place to, like, I feel like you're good at working through those things too, and like having an outcome too. Because I think the one thing is like people can get really caught up in those though,
Oh
and never
yeah.
make a direction then. And I think that's what I get too in my head sometimes about things where I don't allow myself to like actually work through it. I just focus on what I feel like is going wrong with it. So I think if you get in those places, I feel like you have to like work through it and come up with the way that you feel is going to you feel is going to resolve what you feel like isn't
Mm-hmm.
going right.
When I'm sure you feel the same way. Where the older you get, the more you come to understand who you are, but almost in a looking at yourself through a third person lens of how does this person react to his humanness? Does he when if he's brought a problem or a situation? So even for myself, I kind of know how I'm going to react to things because I've lived with myself for so long. And then you also kind of understand the bad parts about yourself. Like for me, I'm very judgmental, and I think this goes on a core level where I think it stemmed with art because I look at art and I try to critique it, and I'm always looking for the flaws in it. And unfortunately, I think that carries over into how I see people, and especially when they talk to me. I tell Josh all the time, I'm looking for authenticity with people. And I forgot what Kyle calls me, my friend Kyle. He's a empathy therapist. And he says that I'm someone that focuses and like zooms in on people's honesty or how authentic I feel, and then I judge them based on that. So if someone comes across really authentic, I really want to get to know them and I want to be around them because I feel it. I mean, probably it goes down to a almost instinctual level of I feel safe around them. I can trust them on some level. And then if I feel that they betray that trust, it's like the biggest loss for me. And I think that's why over the years I've kind of found people that I really trust and I respect in that manner. And I think that's why my life has been so rewarding because I'm around people that I enjoy being around and I don't feel like they're trying to pull one under me. And uh, but I can also see that being a big flaw because then when I meet new people, unfortunately, sometimes I don't look at the context of what they're saying. You know, we were just talking about this last night. I'm looking at how they're saying it, and I judge them based on that more than the subject matter of what they're even talking about. Where is that always the? Oh, you know what? I didn't realize how stretched these feet are. I'm doing the thing where I'm drawing at an angle.
Oh, because yeah, you make it longer.
Well, I might be able to fix
I
this.
mean, you're talking about a lot of stuff right now. And
Yeah,
you're trying to draw feet.
you're right. I can fix this a bit.
Yeah, no, I feel like you can't judge people based on that because I think a lot of times people aren't always comfortable talking about their experiences, so they don't. Maybe it doesn't always come across as genuine, but it's more because they're just not comfortable talking about it.
But then to
Also,
me, that always reads as they. Well, I know, and everyone has their own personal demons, so I shouldn't even be saying this, but I I think because I was surrounded by some people that were living in a state of fear all the time, it made me really push away from that type of personality because I just saw them hiding so much of who they were. And then a lot of times in interactions, not only with them, but how they interact with other people, it just felt so inauthentic. And I didn't want to play this game of, am I going to get the real version of you today, or am I going to get the one you want to present? And I know, I mean, and you can talk about this too a little bit on how a lot of your life you grew up wanting to present a certain way, and like that's the impression you want to give.
oh yeah. Oh gosh, no, this is getting too deep though about like
Ah!
ego and your personality and I don't know. I think because I grew up in such a religious, very um like my dad was a pastor, so I feel like there was that people looking at our family kind of thing. So I think there was a lot of I don't want to say fakeness, but there was a lot of how like I had to present myself even to the world. So I feel like I still kind of hold on to that though in a way of like how I want to present myself to others versus how I feel like I really am. I guess I don't think that makes someone fake per se because I feel like I do show my genuine self to people that I get close with, but to like people in general, I feel like I do like presenting myself a certain way. I don't know. I don't think that's being fake though. I don't know. I know you would say that's being more
I would say that's being
fake, but
fake. But it's funny because getting to know you, I've kind of seen the layers of why that is the way it is for you, and I think because you're so genuine around me, I don't push. I do find you to be a very authentic person. I think you get very nervous in social situations, and I think that's why it
oh
might come
yeah, that,
across as more. But uh, I think that's why I get in trouble sometimes because I think I'm very blunt with people about stuff, or if I'm not feeling like if I really don't like someone's work and they're like, "Hey Tim, what do you think of this?" I might actually say, I'm not really into this. Like I think there's a lot of mistakes here and here, and I think the proportions are off, blah blah blah. But I find that I have a lot of genuine connections with people because then when they come to me for critique, they're kind of already expecting it to be a tad harsh. But I think it's because a lot of people don't have that sense of harshness in their life, that sense of like discipline or. And I'm not even the worst. I think there's people. I think like Pete Morbacher, who I'm interviewing on Friday. I think he's more honest and blunt in a very raw way that I think I try to avoid because I think going in a raw direction with honesty can be brutal and
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
devastating.
Well, and I think too that comes down to when you're being like that, that's your way of showing you actually care about someone too.
Yes.
But I understand though some people don't communicate that way. Like if I was doing that, it probably is because I just generally don't like the person. That would be that like generally honest, where I'm like, I don't like this, because I feel like I do. It's like I want to make people feel good, so it's like for me not giving honest or what am I trying to say? Me giving honest critique though, I still make it in a way that I feel like, oh, I actually really like this though. I don't know.
Like leave them making sure that they feel good,
Yeah.
which I think is a good trait to have because then I think you're looking out for that person's best interests and you don't want them to leave the critique or even the conversation feeling hurt.
Oh yeah.
Or even the worst thing you could do is discourage an artist. Or even if it wasn't an art person per se, let's say it was just a normal conversation, you want to leave them feeling discouraged about themselves. Because I think that could be a real trap is having a persuasive power over someone, whether it's your friends that really trust your opinion. And then if you give them advice where you kind of leave them feeling discouraged, they might accept that as their own truth about themselves. And I think that's where you get into like abusive relationships and all this stuff when we accept the things that we're told by people that we deemed trustworthy. And then we accept and we take on those words when in reality those might not even be the truth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Felix says some of us gays who lean more feminine learn how to present ourselves in a different way in order to get along in school better. Yeah, no, I actually really resonate with that because I do feel like I tend to be more feminine, and I'm more comfortable with that honestly. So even going to a Baptist school, was our principal was an ex military guy, very tough too. So like we'd get called out on I'd get called out on if I did like things with my hands or if I sat like with my legs crossed, they'd point that out to me. Um, Also because I talk with my hands a lot, so I think that was like a thing because I tend to like bend my fingers too, which is seen as feminine.
But you're Italian, no good the burger.
Spaghetti.
Ravioli.
I actually am Italian though, so but
I was like, so I can do that.
yeah, just for the record. But yeah, so I feel like that's a little bit where it comes from too. I feel like I did kind of make two personalities for myself. One that I feel like safer for public, and then one that's more safe for like being alone. But I don't know. It's hard because it's almost like learned though. So it's hard to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna cut off one. And I think it's easy for some
for
people,
sure.
but I can't. I think it's so ingrained now who I am that it's hard for me to be like, let me just not do that anymore. Hang on, let's see. There are some other comments here.
People who come on, they're like, I thought we were gonna talk about feet.
Right? We're trying to like steer away from the feet conversations as much as possible. So like, let's just get existential.
We're like trying to get this live stream in and like knock out our checklist of things that we need to draw on YouTube without it being a weird feet talk. Really quick though, really quick. I just wanted to mention I switched to my HB pencil and I'm starting to get into some of the finer details. I'm still not rendering, but I'm pushing the secondary details. So you can see how I have my initial value passes. So now I'm going to kind of push the next value passes within those and kind of edge things out. Okay.
Some education
there. Back to the miseducation.
I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing something. Oh yeah, Jensen. I had an art teacher that taught through fear. I did not like that at all. Out of curiosity, what is yours and Josh's love language?
Oh, because what are the 4 types?
So it's I know what I am.
Could you Google that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember I learned about these through our old roommate Tyler, where he brought it to my attention what these even meant, and his is touch, or whatever there's 5 languages of love.
Yeah.
Physical touch.
Yeah.
Josh's, if I had to guess, and let me know if I'm right or not, would be. Not words, not acts.
I already know which one you are.
Not gifts. Yours is quality time.
Yes. Yep.
All right, which one am I?
I feel you're an acts of service type.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, weird. Yeah, because I'm one of the biggest believers of action over word. So even kind of like we were talking about earlier, someone could be talking to me about like if they're this is the example I always use. If someone's really passionate about drawing and they come up to my convention booth and they're like, I'm just so excited about drawing, blah 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 blah. And if I ask to see their portfolio and they really haven't done much, here's how my brain works then. I receive that information, I look at the act, and then to me there's a disconnect. Something's one of the two aren't real. It's either their enthusiasm for doing art isn't real or they're not showing me all that they have to show because there's a disconnect. And I get frustrated because then and this is why me and Sean got into so many little deep conversations because he's a charmer. He's someone that likes to talk his way into a conversation, and he's really good at it. And he'll admit it too, so it's not like I'm dogging him either. But sometimes people need to be careful that they actually are meaning what they're saying. Because if someone's really passionate about art, you should be able to show it. You should be able to have a portfolio. If someone's really passionate about like for you, I guess it's you're really passionate about loving people, so you show it. You do acts of love.
Oh yeah.
And it could be something as like simple as you make pancakes every Sunday. And to me, that is genuine action matching what you're saying. So you saying I really love to love, you doing those actions, show me that. Now that could just be my limited perspective on the topic because that's how I receive or that's my love language.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about that then?
Yeah. I don't know. About the love language?
About like how you receive, I guess, better question for you. It's not,
Yeah.
I love how this is kind of turned into an interview.
Yeah.
Why do you feel your love language is quality time over the other four?
I think it's because it's what makes me feel like it's what makes me feel loved, I guess. I don't know. I know that's coming down to like love's a feeling because it really is. Like I feel like the person generally likes me if they want to spend time with me. I don't know. Like it's even with my friends and stuff too. I feel like um, friendships that I like close friends I have. I think my favorite thing to do with them is just spend quality time together. Like put phones away. Don't worry about that world. It's just me and that person for a bit, and I like that time because I feel like it's like we're existing next to each other. We're living together. I don't know. Where I feel like sometimes I don't like. For me, like quality time's ruined if like a phone has to come out or if there's distractions or if there's that kind of stuff. I sometimes just like being able to escape with someone and just have that time together. And that's where I feel loved. Yeah. I think time is important because I feel like time is expensive, you know? It's something
Time
that
is
when
very
someone
expensive.
gives to you, it feels really, really worth it. It's like we only have one time in this earth, so it's like the fact that someone's giving you time of their life, it's like a transfer. I'm transferring my time for you, and then they're transferring your time for you. And it feels just really good.
I think that's sometimes why breakups are so devastating for some people because they feel they invested so much time. It's almost like a currency and they can't get their return on it.
Yeah.
It's like a no receipt purchase on spending time with someone.
Well, and that's where I feel like, well, especially for my past relationships, I feel like I was the one giving my time over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt almost like you leave it and it felt really unbalanced. Like, okay, I wasted, because they were off living their life and I feel like I was investing more into it than they were. So it does feel very empty afterwards at first of like, wow, I wasted time. And then you always have people like, oh, it's not a waste of time. You learn something from it. But it's like, no, I don't get that time back though. So like,
see, I'm definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
That'd be like, oh, well, you learn, rah, 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 rah. Well, and I think
which I get, but like,
I think we can vaguely talk about this a little bit because I think both of us were in, past situations where we were spending so much time and effort into a person, and then once you kind of have this self-realization that I don't think I'm getting the same in return, then it's almost like you have to make a choice, and sometimes that choice can go over a duration of a long period of time, but you have to move on because that person's not good for you. And I think that is the time that was what we would say is wasted.
Mhm.
Once you kind of figure out that you're in a situation where you need to move on, and then to the point you actually move on, to me that can be kind of wasted time. But you're building up the strength and like almost the encouragement to leave that situation, which can be really tough.
Oh my god. Well, I
But
was living in a whole different. I was living in New Mexico. I felt very far away from like people
mhm.
too. So it's like on top of that, there was already that point of like this is no good for me, but I feel trapped. So you kind of like waste more time, but you almost know you're wasting time because
Yeah, yours is a little tough because you were
yeah,
in a different state. But I think the time before you realized it though, I don't see that so much as waste time because you were enjoying yourself. Well, at least I would hope you were enjoying yourself. If you were miserable, then yeah, that is
yeah. No,
just
I mean yeah,
then that
yeah.
can be
I feel
bad.
like there's those. I always call them facade parts of relationships because I don't know. I feel like there's relationships you leave that were good, they were healthy. Maybe it just didn't work out. Um, I feel like I just had relationships that were very quickly went south, but
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
When I know, well, I don't know how you were in your. Well, no, I kind of do know. Never mind. The whole idea of when you're in your late teens, early 20s, sometimes we reach out and like search for people that we feel have like a deeper understanding of either themselves or they're more confident in a way, and we're looking for that for our own psyche.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh, this person seems to be really confident. I want to also be more confident in myself, so I'm gonna hang around this person more. And then sometimes though, you have to realize that that person may be projecting confidence, but they might be doing it out of anger or out of ego or pride. And um, I think I fell into that where I think my pride got in the way of a lot because I thought that that's how you had to be confident, is you had to be prideful. And it wasn't until my mid 20s that I really realized no, 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 no. Pride and confidence are not connected like I once thought they were. And you can be super confident and still be generous and caring and kind. But I think people often think the people that are the most confident are oftentimes not the best of people in their current state. I think it's a lot of people that are scared or they haven't figured themselves out and they're projecting this confidence, but in
Oh
reality
yeah,
they are
they're not.
scared and they don't understand fully who they are.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, totally. But I did learn, so I don't know if anyone does the 16 personalities, and if you guys know what yours is, definitely put it in chat too. So I did the 16 personalities test, and I figured out I'm an INFP. And then after I did more research into it too, I realized my type tends to idolize the person we love. It's a common
Mm.
habit for INFPs. Um, we're the worst at careers. So actually, out of all the ones, we INFPs
Wait,
apparently,
really?
yeah, they do not find any career like enjoyable. It's an issue. Um, and then INFPs, yeah, idolize person they love, and they also tend to have like more of an imaginative, like overly romantic view of love too, like a um,
Like Moulin
one true
Rouge.
love. Like they have like that concept of like they kind of idolize love in a way too. Um, so yeah, that was interesting. Tim still has to take it though. I feel like I might know who Tim is, but I don't want to say it until he takes it because I don't.
I know the
I don't
last
know.
time I took it was I was an ENFP or EN. Yeah,
ENFP?
I think
Oh
so.
wow, that's like the extroverted version of what I am.
But that was also quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I would definitely try taking it again. Yeah,
Oh, I
INFPs
would.
though, I was like, it was kind of fun doing it because now when you read about it, you actually start seeing. That's why I think I like the 60 personality thing because you almost can kind of figure yourself out then because of it.
Hmm.
Um,
I always like looking at it, but kind of like horoscopes. I never take anything too matter of factly. Like I take it with a grain of salt in a way.
yeah, I don't know. To me though, it's not mythological. It's not like something that's like spiritual. It's very factual. It's like a scientific research of like these are people's how we can define 16 different types of like personalities that exist. It's like to me more scientific than it is spiritual, which is I think why I like it more
I
because I
guess I'd
like
have to look more
science.
into it.
Yeah, you know, it's very much based on like they do psychology, like it's based on all that stuff that they can pinpoint 16 different.
Well, because even the last time I got ENFP, but I don't know if I am extroverted. I really do feel like I'm an introvert.
Well, it's funny because people introvert and extrovert too. There's more when you just say I'm an extrovert. There's more to that though, because even extroverts still need alone time. So it's hard because you might actually get energy from being around other people, but you still also need that alone time to like recalculate and figure yourself out still too.
I
So
was like, because you've seen me too.
there's different types of extroverts even too, and same with introverts. Like some introverts still need a lot of human interaction. So it's yeah. Let me. There's a couple. Yes, actually, Bookstuss. This is a while back, so sorry I didn't get to you, Bookstuss. But says sorry to interrupt your stream of consciousness, but how do you deal with wrinkles?
Oh, okay. So back to the feet.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not going to be focusing so much on wrinkles until near the final stage, but as you can see, I've kind of started doing the larger shapes. So if you see me like do weird faces at the screen, it's not because I'm reading the comments being like, ugh, disgusting. Because I can't even see the comments Josh has them, but I'm looking at my wrinkles in my feet and thinking, ugh, disgusting. But no, in reality, I'm squinting and I'm doing like a quick value check. So I'm trying to quickly see where the darker values are. So I can see there's a lot of darker values on the heel part of this foot. And then you can see some of the larger wrinkle lines in here. But I'm not going to worry too much about them. I can start to slowly build them up. But like the wrinkles right here on the back of the ankle, I'm not going to line those in yet because those are the final details. That's why if you ever see me draw, I mean, I try to take different approaches to drawings. I think if I had one academic way of doing drawings every single time, I'd go crazy. I think I wouldn't enjoy art. I think art should be a very organic process. And even speaking of Miles, he was very open about how he's very grateful for, or at least I'm pretty sure it was Miles, how he was grateful for his academic way of learning, but it was very hard for him to break out of that mindset because it was so ingrained and embedded on this is how you're supposed to draw that getting out of that can be tough. So I personally save the wrinkles till last. That's not saying this is fact and that's how you should do it. But for me personally, I've really agreed with the artist's lingo of scope and having a really large scope and then going smaller, smaller, smaller as you're working on the drawing. And then the smallest scope should be the finer details, like near the end. Because if you focus too early on the details, you're going to be rendering and wasting a lot of time. And I was always told that I'm a time waster, and I try to battle that. But there are times where I do find myself working with a .2 mechanical pencil and spending way too much time on an area that I shouldn't even be focusing on yet.
It's like your camera slowly turning the focus more detailed.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good analogy.
Oh, Candor's an INFJ. I know those are very rare too. I always thought it was an INFJ, but then yeah, I took it and I was like, oh, actually, I really resonate with INFPs now. Also, yeah, thanks for linking, Sammy. A bunch of people are taking the quiz right now.
See what they are.
Oh,
What?
no, it's just like Candor, INFJ, the advocate type. That's the one thing I don't remember which type I was, because I know there's two types, then two on top of being one of those. What was the other thing too? Like, yeah, INFP tend to. It's called mediator, is my type.
Mediator.
Yeah.
Really?
Mediator personalities are true idealists, always looking for the hint of good, even in the worst of people and events, searching for ways to make things better.
Ooh, definitely not true.
While they may be perceived as calm, reserved, even shy, mediators have an inner flame and passion that can truly shine.
Does it say that if it's sunny outside, you're wondering when it will rain?
No, Tim. Actually, no, it says we tend to be more optimistic, though, which I am.
No.
Tim, I'm optimistic.
This is the longest standing joke me and Josh have had the past month.
It's literally been, okay. I'm usually, Tim, like, it does this thing where it's like, I have a couple of weeks where I'm just down, and then it's like how
weeks.
It's been like the last month and a half, I've been a little bit more down on life. Like, when we were doing the outside stream, I'm going to tell the story before you tell it. We were planning on doing the outside stream. Tim was like, oh yeah, this Wednesday, or maybe next week, we're going to look at doing the gardening stream on Tuesday. And I was like, oh yeah, hopefully it just doesn't rain. And then Tim's like, "Wow, what a downer." And I'm like, "No, I was saying it more in like not a downer way. It was just like matter of fact, like, oh yeah, hopefully it doesn't rain."
So Josh gets frustrated because I get so frustrated with my own father because everything I do or everything I say, he always looks at the worst case scenario. And maybe I'm projecting a little bit of that of him on you. But whenever I hear someone immediately go for like the negative on an idea or like on an exciting event that's happening, I'm always like, "Ugh, thanks, Debbie Downer." Like,
That's not normally how I am, though. And honestly, it has been like the last couple months since this has all been going on. I feel like I'm kind of like doom and gloom with life sometimes because I get scared. It's like I want to fix everything, but I can't. So you
which
feel
is
out of
understandable.
control. I don't know.
Understandable.
Candor, though, is the advocate. The advocate personality type is very rare, making up less than 1% of the population, but they nonetheless leave their mark on the world. Oh, I agree with that. Candor does leave a mark. Advocates have an inborn sense of idealism and morality, but what sets them apart is that they are not idle dreamers. These individuals are capable of taking concrete steps to realize their goals and make a lasting positive impact. I'm going to make you read all of mine later, though.
Oh boy.
I'll read it out loud to you, but I want you to read all of mine because I'm going to read all of yours. People with this personality type, this is Candor's. People with this personality type tend to see helping others as their purpose in life. Advocates can often be found engaging in rescue efforts and doing charity work. However, the real passion is to get to the heart of the issue.
Oh, well, thank you, Chantry,
Thank you
for
so much.
subscribing.
We're going to get one little bell ring.
Our beautiful
However, the real
cowbell.
passion is to get to the heart of the issue so that people need not to be rescued at all. Oh. Yeah, here we go. Drea says, don't pick on Josh, he's a realist. Candor says, oh yeah, I feel like Josh is not a downer usually. I like that I got my little gang now that like backs me up every time.
You are projecting a good image of yourself.
Oh my god. Stream canceled. 47 minutes, by the way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I like you a lot.
I'm not usually a downer, Tim. I'm not a downer.
What was the other thing we were doing? It was like...
It's been this last. It has been this last. This is the first time you've ever brought this up. It's been this last month and a half. I've been a little down.
No, I know. I'm just pushing fun.
But yeah, I mean, if it rained, that would have ruined the entire stream, and like that scared me. I was like, I don't want it to rain, but I have to accept that it could rain and ruin the stream. It could have. You already said it too. Like it wouldn't have worked out as the same.
Well, I think, and what I always tell my dad is there's some things that are like without needing to be said. Like obviously, if it rained, we would move it inside. But by saying it out loud, it's like acknowledging the obvious bad part.
I think because my brain focuses on that though, of like this could get ruined if it rains, so it helps me just to verbalize it rather than just keep it inside where I'm like panicking about it could rain.
I know, and I think
know.
we've gotten to know each other and how to like work with one another.
Yeah.
So I think we're able to just laugh it off for sure.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Famous last words. The next stream. So Josh will not be joining us in future streams.
Oops, sorry, I really smacked your chair there.
Oh damn. Are you okay?
I get swinging on this chair.
At least it doesn't squeak.
I know it's
as
not
much.
squeaking. I don't know why. It's just humidity in the air. Oh yeah, Candor, send the screenshot. I'd like to know what the. Oh yeah, see, even Sammy, who isn't. It's crazy times right now. See, I'm just a little.
Oh, I know. I know.
Oh, Sammy's an INFP also. We can talk more about that sometime, Sammy. The mediator types.
Well, I think the nice part about, you and how you interact with people, and even how you kind of deal with me sometimes, is I think you're willing to listen and like really listen, which is I think a trait a lot of people don't have as much nowadays.
Well, my favorite thing though was where it was under the strength and weaknesses. I'll give you like the pinpoint strengths and weaknesses for INFPs.
You were so adamant on like making sure I know everything.
I feel like you've been so busy, so now that I got you cornered on the stream right now,
And I'm
you're
like, no.
oh Tim, you want to learn more about me?
It's like, no, I didn't sign up for this.
Bookstuff says, I don't know how to continue these feet. I might ruin them. Oh.
Okay.
This looks really hard. I mean, this is to me, when I watch, especially because I don't really stare at Tim drawing. Usually I give Tim his face when he draws, but like, this is really interesting to me, his feet. Because they are so, like, you don't look at them enough, but like, now that I look at feet, I'm like, these look really complicated to draw.
Yes. And I think that's a perfect comment. And we're at like the halfway point right now. Okay. I know that this might be a little tricky. And if you're feeling like, oh, I've made good progress so far, I don't want to ruin it. This is the chance to take that leap and possibly ruin it. Because if it does go bad, you learn from it. You learn from the mistakes you made and what you don't want to repeat again. But you're literally in a fight or flight type situation right now. I'm telling you, you should fight. Keep working on it. Focus maybe on the areas that are not the strongest and you can kind of recognize in your drawings and focus on that. Or if there's a shadow that you should make darker. I really want these type of streams to push people past a comfort zone. And even with myself, I worked with a 3B for most of this, which I normally don't. So I'm doing a lot of cleanup work right now. And, you know, I learned a little bit from it, but I really like the texture that 3B gave me. So now I'm getting back into more of a familiar zone here, and I'm trying to clean up a lot of what I think is wrong. So it's okay if you feel some of your drawing you don't want to ruin it or you're afraid of what will happen. This is the chance to take that leap and ruin it if need be, because these are not going to be gallery, you know, pieces that we're going to be so proud of and hang on the fridge unless if you do have a foot fetish. So these are the times where you want to really push yourself and go for it.
I want this blown up, huge, like a big size, right above the fireplace.
Of my feet.
Of the feet. Mo says, can you suggest a book to study the head and face proportion?
The one that I really like is by Giovanni Savardi. It's more on drawing the whole human anatomy, but I really like how he talks about it. But literally, I think the best, well, it's so tough because like I would recommend a life drawing session, but it's kind of impossible right now to do that unless if you're doing them online. But I think there's something about in-person life drawing sessions that you can't get online. And I mean, eventually I do want to do one with you guys. So have the Wednesday, we're going to probably do like a 3-hour Wednesday stream one of these times where it's a super legit life drawing live stream. But if you're looking for books, honestly, I don't have any that come to my mind right away. I think a lot of the ones I had were kind of the same old, where they talk about the cranium and the underlying bones and all that stuff, which is good. But I think, like, literally looking at different head shapes and just finding good references of different heads that you can practice is honestly the best way to get better at drawing heads, especially looking at heads at different angles. Maybe also draw, I think the thing that helped me a little bit was drawing skulls, because I think learning the underlying bone structure can help put in some of the features on top. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Ooh, Felix is an INTP.
Gosh dang it.
Tim's like, hang on.
I'm gonna have to like ban this
Felix
website
is an
from
INTP.
you.
Oh, so you're more of like, oh yeah, you're a logician. So I feel like you have a little bit more of a science brain too, which is probably interesting for your art because it has like a little bit of a scientificness to it. I don't know enough about these, but logician type personality is fairly rare, making up only 3% of the population.
Is every personality type that they say are just rare?
Most of them, I feel like a lot of the introverted ones are actually. Logicians pride themselves on their inventiveness and creativity, their unique perspective and vigorous intellect. Usually known as the philosopher, the architect, or the dreamy professor, logicians have been responsible for many scientific discoveries throughout history. Logicians are known for their brilliant theories and unrelenting logic. In fact, they are considered the most logically precise of all the personality types.
Wait a minute. How many personality types are there?
16.
So then, wait. Because, okay, let's say that there were around 20. That means if you're any of the 20, that's 5% of the population. So couldn't they start off every single one being like, you're one of the rare types. You are less than 5% of the population.
Yeah, well, like, so a lot of the more extroverted ones are more common. Because if you think about it, I think most of the population tends to be more lenient towards extroverted personality types. Because there are, like, some
I
of
don't
them
know.
are more. Actually, my mediators aren't, like, I think they're 7%. Oh no, comprising just 4% of that population. Yeah, I don't know. They just tend to.
I feel like they worded that to make people feel special.
I mean, probably Tim, but
See, now to me, that comes off as very inauthentic.
what
This
does?
website's saying every single personality type is rare, where it's like, well, no, if they're all rare, that means none of them are
Okay,
rare.
well, pretend like that statement's not there. It's
All right.
still real. I mean, it's like. I think if there's anything I've related to the most, it's the personality types because it is based more on like actual scientific research of human psyche and what they go through and the way people respond. And they're able to like research that and then actually pinpoint it to like, oh, people tend to like follow these certain guidelines based on their personality. Because you do, like, you see how, like, I read this and I'm like, this is how I've lived my life in a way. Like, how I've handled situations that get thrown at me, it's the way I process it and deal with it. I don't know. I think it's cool that they're able to research that many people and actually make it.
Oh, I know. I mean, Sean's all about that too.
Yeah.
He loves that.
The personalities.
Personalities.
Yeah. I like this more than, personally, I like this more than what's the horoscopes and stuff.
I mean, I like horoscope stuff because, it's one of those things where you have to choose to believe it.
Okay, but you slamming this, horoscopes are kind of to make people feel like special or different too.
Oh, I know.
So that would come across as inauthentic. But
well,
I
that's
think
what
it
I mean
feels
is like,
good.
to me, they're both kind of the same thing.
See, no, the 16 personalities to me is science.
This has that. You're right. It
Yeah.
does have a little bit more research into it for sure. Well, for sure more than astrology.
Yeah.
But I think astrology is kind of fun because it is. Well, I mean, this is an argument opinion here, but I think a lot of people would say that astrology isn't real, but we choose to make it real through believing in it. Where personality types are kind of saying like, no, this is fact.
Oh yeah,
We're
because
like,
they studied for years on
yeah.
human personalities. Oh yeah, we have. Let's take a look here. Oh, Eric Ziva got mediator as well.
Josh got everyone on the stream to do this.
I'm really proud of
test.
everyone, right? Everyone's taking a break from drawing, just taking some. What is the stream?
What has this become?
Oh yeah, the enneagrams. So HC, XPL. Yes, I know all about enneagrams too. I'm at number 9. I'm 9. I don't know if you know the band Sleeping at Last, but it's really cute. He did songs in every single enneagram type too. That's the other personality one too. So there's like 2 different researches. I think there's actually a third. There's another thing too. The enneagrams, like there's 9 types of personalities too.
Yeah, I mean these are fun to learn.
Let's see, ISTP. Oh, Zadric and Velschmertz got ISTP. They both did. Let's see. TJ. Oh yes, the virtuoso. This is the one. I either think personally, I think Tim might be adventurer, or this one, but he has to take the test still. Virtuosos love to explore with their hands and their eyes, touching and examining the world around them with cool rationalism and spirited curiosity. People with this personality type are natural makers, moving from project to project, building the useful and superfluous for the fun of it, and learning from their environment as they go. Often mechanics and engineers, virtuosos find no greater joy than in getting their hands dirty, pulling things apart, and putting them back together. Just a little bit better than they were before. So that is Zadric and Velschmertz.
Would it drive you nuts if I didn't take the test?
Yes. No, you're taking the test.
Is that even a question?
Yeah.
Kind of a side comment, but do you want to go take a bike ride after this?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, no, I want to watch that episode. Is it raining outside? I don't know if we can. It might be raining outside.
I really. Oh, that would have been so funny if you would have said, "Part it doesn't rain" or like something.
After that happened, I was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta be a downer. Hang on."
Here, wait. Oh,
See,
wait. No, it's
my
time.
natural state's not to be like that. But yeah, I mean, it could rain. Actually, it does look a little gloomy outside today.
There's no windows open right now. You can't even see outside.
It's just the way it comes through those curtains, though.
Josh
You
is
can see
like,
the gray.
yeah, it feels like it's gonna rain.
I just feel it.
My ENF or my INFP just feels the rain right now.
Actually, I'm gonna crack the window a little bit, though.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's getting warm.
Yeah.
But I mean, something that I do want to do more with the live streams is I kind of like having these more like open discussions on things.
There we go. Or should I close the blind? Actually, it looks okay. Sometimes it gets too bright.
Because I mean, this kind of stuff, I always find a lot of interest in, but I feel I don't talk about it enough. I'm always doing like self inner monologues.
It's fun to get to. Well, it's fun to get to know you guys too. It's like all these different personalities that come together. Granted, I do notice that thing of most of us seem to be introverted, so that's interesting.
I mean, I would believe it. Coming
Yeah.
to an artist Wednesday live stream drawing feet.
Right? I feel like that would make sense. But oh yay!
What?
HCXP L1 loves sleeping at last. Yeah, that's actually how I figured out about the Enneagram was through his songs, and that's what got me all into that. Unix says, for astrology, I can only say I once looked up the tree of the year of my birth year in my country, and just by reading Wikipedia on that tree, I could identify with this tree when I tried. Yeah, I mean, I think I tend to like solid facts. That's why I always liked Enneagram or the 16 personalities, because it was something I feel like's been researched. But I do feel like astrology's.
I'd say that's very Gemini of you to say that.
Stop. But I do, yeah.
I mean, I know Sean would shoot me if he heard me say this right now, but I actually really do feel Libra.
Oh, you're totally a Libra, yeah.
I know. That's why I think it's fun for me to believe in astrology. And I do like the personality test too. I'm not even trying to dog on it.
Yeah.
Just being
If we
silly.
go for a bike ride, though, can we do that personality test with you later today? So that next week we can know what you are.
All right.
We'll come back with it. And we'll sit down together, just get a little cocoa, and I'm going to read about my personality types. You can just get to understand me more, and then I'll read about yours.
Can I be sleeping during yours? Is that an option available?
Just figure out more about each other.
I kind of like talking with someone to get to know them better. But teach your own.
Well, now you'll realize why I don't like talking about myself based off what we read. It's going to be really good. All right. Eric Ziva says, a personality test I would say is flawed, though, because you expect people being reliable and coherent. A lot of theories on humans in society have a seemingly sound argument that falls apart. Interesting. Hang on, let me read that one more time. A personality test I would say is flawed, though, because you expect people being reliable and coherent. Yeah, I mean, I understand that, because I feel like sometimes people can... How we were saying, I don't think people always are genuine. So probably when they're doing those tests, they don't get a full, always genuine research on it.
I was going to say, I think they get a full genuineness. I think their friends and their family should take the test for that person.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly, how research went into 16 personalities either. But I feel like it's pretty spot on, because a lot of the stuff I get. And obviously, you're not going to read through it and be like, this is 100% what I relate to. And even the website says we can sometimes find, obviously, parts of our personality and other different personality types too. But I think it sometimes helps to have that, like, at least a label to your personality. I don't know. I feel like if you're more philosophical or you tend to be more more insightful, yeah. I feel like sometimes
or self-evaluating.
It helps to put a name to your personality. I think it helps if you feel like your brain's confusing too. It helps to.
Ooh, that is so. I'm gonna turn that down.
Rambling right now, but
thank you, Javi Sleepy, for subscribing.
We got a little bell ring.
Well,
we're hitting the 30-minute mark.
I mean, here's the thing about finding out things about yourself. I think talking with other people really help, or at least having very conscious inner dialogues with yourself and being honest. But if I had to look at other people, I think other people know your flaws better than you do.
Oh yeah.
I think when we get to know our friends really well, and I think we kind of pick up maybe the worst parts about them as well that we would never say to them because we know that it would hurt their feelings. But I think a lot of the times people are oblivious to their own worst flaws. And I think then taking these tests, that's why I think not only should you take it, I think your closest like friends, if you have a partner or your family, I think they should take it for you as well, and then do like an average of all the answers
Oh, that's
to
interesting.
get like a more genuine, accurate.
Oh, we could do that later. Granted, I feel like you don't have all the time in the world to do that right now, but
I mean, yeah, there's like low interest already.
but
It's
maybe
like starting at a 2.
the first thing we can do when you finish these cards that has been like stressing you out all these last couple
Is to
months
take a
is we'll
person.
take the test together, Tim. That's gonna be the best way for you to relax.
Oh boy.
No, I won't do that to you. You can just
I mean, I
place
will
that
take the
in.
test for you. I'm not like opposed to it.
Um, let's see here. Oh yeah, Sleeping in Last Solar System releases. I love the Solar System one too. Sleeping in Last to me is like Tim says cinnamon roll music, and it's so good though.
Well, all music you listen to is cinnamon roll music.
No, I listen to some good.
What's that one song where it's like, I'm baking something?
Tim always says my music's like you bake to it, like you're baking a pie, and it's the music you have on.
Don't get
birds
me
are chirping
wrong.
outside.
I like your music. I'm not even trying to dog on it either. But I think the fact that you're in denial that you're a cinnamon roll, I find so funny.
Tim's music's like psychedelic, like floating through space, floating
What?
through fantasy worlds.
Well, it's
You're
definitely
floaty.
not through space though.
I don't know. You're floating like
It's very floaty.
you have that
It's
Kingdom
very
Hearts
floaty.
like falling backwards.
Oh, I'm definitely not denying that.
Yeah.
My music's very, very, very floaty.
Basically, Tim's music is like if you do that video of Sora like falling, any video of Sora falling, and you turn on like one of Tim's songs.
I still think if any of you guys know, like my favorite song of all time is very floaty. It's "Fade Into You" by Mazzy Star.
Oh yeah.
I listen to that at least once a day.
You can't understand the words. It's just...
I don't understand all the words, but it's very floaty. It's very soft. And then it has I like when bridges and choruses go, or at least the pattern. It's the dun. It goes like a little hopeful, and then kind of sad, and then like this in between sound of hopeful and sad.
I love when you sing "Fade Into You" though, because it's always like
Fade
into you. Ooh, do, do,
So
do,
strange, you never knew.
do. That's your way of
I
singing
love
it. Let's see here. Oh, Sarah Bear says you guys are making my day so much lighter today. I needed that. Thank you.
Oh, well, that's great
That's
to
good
hear.
to know. As we're talking about personalities,
No, let's not bring
it's
that
all
back.
about enneagrams, personalities. Drea says I'm only a Taurus if someone messes with the person I care about. Any other time, I'm very gentle and flexible. I feel like honestly, Drea, I feel like you would stand up for someone that you care about. I see that in you. I think that's a good trait to have too.
I already know.
Tauruses tend to be bullheaded, so I actually didn't know you were Taurus.
I think I'm not very flexible with
Yeah.
certain things. Because even like if I hear something that I don't agree with, I'm horrible at hiding feelings. Remember like a certain engagement video call, and then I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
I don't want to say you're ready to fight, but I feel like
oh no, I'm not ready to fight.
I feel like you are though. I don't know, even like
I'm always judging.
I
I'm
feel
always
like
like,
even with-
is this honest?
even with your parents when it comes to like discussions on being
Oh
mean
my
and stuff, you're
gosh.
always kind of like there.
Well-
I feel like you want to. Where I'm the type too, it's like if I know there's conflict coming, I tend to just avoid it, which is an INFP trait. We avoid conflict.
Yeah,
But
I definitely don't avoid
you don't
conflict.
avoid conflict, yeah.
I'm one of those people where, and I'm sure this will be in my personality trait test, but if there is something wrong, I want to write it immediately. I always thought that was also my inner Libra, but I always thought that was a very like balancing act for me. I can't have something bother me and not deal with it right away. So like if me and my friend, or if we're arguing, I I need to talk to them right away. So like if me and Josh were having a tiff,
A tiff.
I don't think we've ever let it go longer than that same day.
Oh yeah, we made that deal though when we first started dating of like we never want to go to bed.
Angry.
I think a lot of couples do this too. And I think it's really important. We don't want to go to bed with conflict on the table
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't feel good falling asleep to it. It sucks waking up to it.
Yep.
And yeah, I think maybe we probably let that flow once by, but then we took care of it right away the next day
I don't think
too.
we have.
I really honestly can't. Maybe the Valentine's Day
No, we figured that. Remember, we sat down.
We did.
Because I know for myself, that's what will drive me nuts. Is if I have something that I need to correct. I can't draw. It's like hard for me to think. So I think that's why I'm better at dealing with conflict. And I think since you're very passively wanting to work, not against conflict, but
no, I actively avoid conflict. Yeah.
but I think that's why us being together, since I actively search for correcting conflict right away, I think you're okay being like, okay, well, let's solve it because clearly he needs to get this out of the system.
And then it helps avoid it. So
and then we solve it. I think even with friendships, I think you need at least one person that's more passive and one person that's more aggressive when it comes to solving problems. Because I know in the past when I've had problems with someone that also is a little more bullheaded like myself, it ends up being more of like a legit argument or like a legit verbal, not a fight because I never ever try to go to insults or attacking the person's character. I think that's when you lose. If you're attacking who that person is in an argument, you lost that argument. I don't even care what the argument is. You lost.
Oh yeah, it's not fair.
No.
I mean, yeah, those are people that I feel like don't understand. I always look at arguments as a debate. Then at that point,
Yes.
like you have to treat an argument as a debate. Like you have to be fair with it. Because I feel like if you get personal, it ruins your standpoint. That like it makes that person their entire standpoint.
Yep. Their whole
goes
conversation.
away. Yeah.
Because then clearly they're emotionally reactive, and then a lot of what their stance on whatever the issue is might be also based on an emotionally driven standpoint, where you want to usually debate someone that is coming from a very not emotional based, but either fact based or very calm, reserved, and very well thought out. Where if someone goes to insults, clearly they're trying to attack your character to win the argument by making you look less than. And
I don't know. I feel like too. I think sometimes people attribute someone's viewpoint as that entire person's personality, and I think that's.
But it is.
Right.
Oh no! Wait, no! Sorry.
What I'm trying to say is like, okay, so I'm trying to think of a debate. Like we were talking about the people that protested, like not staying at home. That whole thing.
Yes.
And I feel like sometimes you can generalize those people then, of like, I think I know how those people are, who they are. Because I feel like we do this even with like sometimes ultra conservative people, especially being, we tend to think of them as like a certain way. But I think we can't do that with people though. It's hard still. But we have to still see them as people, and there's not. Because in debates, then what happens is you see them as that one type of person. So that's why I think it gets personal. Because you judge who they are based off what they're standing for. Hopefully, what I'm saying is making sense.
I agree with you. And like my whole family's conservative. I'm like the black sheep that came out of this family. But I think if someone is willing to protest and have such a strong identity with whatever they're protesting, I think that says a lot about that person. You know?
Yeah.
Like if they're willing to put themselves out there, that probably says that they're bold. They're not afraid to be seen for their opinion. I think there's like a few things you can extract from an action, like personality traits, or at least when I look at the situation, that's what I see.
Yeah.
Or if like I look on Twitter and someone's being like super agitated because Twitter is a interesting place. And then I go to their profile, and then they talk about how depressed and, they have all these things about them that are traits that are usually associated with being more sad. But they're so angry and violent on Twitter. Like sometimes I'm like the hate that comes out of Twitter. And then I'm like, well, that's very telling about that person, is that they're actually really sad and they crave human connection, but they're projecting it in this very hateful manner.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, I'm reading the signs. I could be off. I'm not just saying like that's matter of fact, but that's how I do view people for sure. And I like when I'm proven wrong. I like when my uh, don't judge a book by its cover gets wrong.
Oh yeah. No, I mean that's always fun when you get that twist of.
Like, oh, this person's actually cooler than I thought. And you know it's really apparent in Animal Crossing because I am stuck with the weirdest animals, but I've kind
This
of
is
grown
so
to love
true.
them. Where then me and Josh talked about this, where I am like, Josh caters his people based on how they look. And I'm like, I don't think you should be doing that because then he's kicking people out if they don't look cool.
Okay, for the record, I've not one of my villagers is kicked out.
You've been trying to get rid of Camel Frog since like the first week.
He's growing on me now at this point. He was just kind of mean at first.
He was not mean.
I don't know.
He's just weird looking.
Maybe a little bit.
But isn't that great? Because even Olaf, where at first you were like, this
I don't like Olaf.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, actually, he's pretty great.
Yeah.
So those are the type of interventions I really like, where my own human psyche gets not only challenged, but I'm proven wrong. And it's kind of that reminder of, oh, yeah.
Growing with Animal Crossing. Yeah, no, I am kind of picky about my villagers.
Yeah, you're very
like-
picky
yeah.
about your Animal Crossing villagers.
It's a little bad, but I want to, I like the lazy and normal villager types because I feel like they're just the most down to earth. So I have a hard time sometimes with like the jock ones. I like them because they tend to be nice, but like the jocks or the preppy, all those ones are hard.
Do you know I read somewhere online that the villagers that we like in Animal Crossing are projections of what we like about ourselves.
Oh.
So if people want certain villagers to come to their town, it's because they like certain facets of themselves.
Wait, are you saying I like my lazy and normal attributes?
Yes.
That works.
Oh, and we have 17 minutes, so we're like
Oh my
closing on
God,
the
sorry.
15 minutes.
This whole talk today, guys, I'm sorry if this was like. We have 2 dislikes in this video right now, I noticed. I'm like, ooh, some people must not like.
One of them's me.
If you say HDXP L1 says if you say you are really interested in something like these discussions but don't talk enough about them, can that be interpreted as inauthentic for other people? I don't think so.
Oh wait, say that question again, because I feel like I was directed to
if you say you are really interested in something like these discussions but don't talk enough about them, can't that be interpreted as inauthentic for other people?
I think if it piques your interest, that's one thing. But to say you're really interested in it would mean that you'd then, after this conversation, you'd go explore it more. You'd like look online for your personality trait, or like the people that took the test immediately. Those I would say are probably really interested in this kind of stuff.
I feel like, yeah, that's where it's reading room too. I think you understand a lot of people maybe aren't interested in this stuff. Like I know Tim isn't interested, but I don't actually take those cues. I kind of just keep pushing this. Okay.
Well, I think, and I tell Josh too. I think why I use the word inauthentic is because I think people don't recognize the verbiage that they use when they talk, and that's why I never like absolutes. I don't like when people use always or never. Even like watching Final Fantasy VII, Barrett at one point tells his daughter, "Don't worry, I promise I'll come back. I would never leave you." And to me, that I never liked that, because then if he does die on the next mission, then her final words with him were a lie. And I know it was an unintentional lie and he had good intentions. So it's like, then I look at the intention behind it. But that's why I never use absolutes when I talk, as I say never.
Yeah.
That's why I try not to use absolutes, because even at conventions, people ask, will you be here on Sunday? I always say, I should be, or I am, I'm scheduled to. Because if I die in a car crash or I die tragically, then that statement wasn't true. And maybe I'm just really weird about that.
But I think it's like people think about those potentials, but we choose not to like
acknowledge
it.
Yeah,
See,
I don't mind acknowledging it.
I know, but I think if anything though, you doing that gives people more of an appreciation for like time with each other, because we don't know,
Yeah.
So I guess in that way, it's a good thing.
Well, and I think people just assume I'm crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, well, he's an artist, and then like keep walking by.
Oh, he has feet drawings. Okay, I'm just.
Oh wow,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
INFP, huh?
um, oh, Drivia says Josh is a sweet little cinnamon roll.
I told you,
No.
Josh. He is the most cinnamon roll person I've ever met, and he will not admit it.
Nope.
Which even adds to the cinnamon roll factor.
Val Schmertz says, Joshua, do you listen to In Love with a Ghost? Yes, I do. And it's, I actually pulled up their in Spotify thing because I've not listened to them in a while. It's kind of like lo-fi, I thought, too. It has like a good sound. I can't remember which one I really like, though. Because I found In Love with a Ghost when, I don't know if you guys remember when the game Celeste came out. It was like that little 8-bit, really hard game to play. And I remember I was listening to the soundtrack on Spotify, and then
Oh,
In
is
Love
that
with the
who did it?
Ghost was recommended. No, they didn't do it, but it was like a
Oh.
recommended when I was listening to Celeste soundtrack. And that's how I found In Love with the Ghost. HGXPL. HG says, like, acknowledging that it could rain during the outside stream. See? We are kind of similar with that stuff, Tim. Sometimes you have to acknowledge the bad to appreciate the good. Eric Ziva says, couples therapy stream with Tim and Josh. Enjoy, with lots of dots afterwards. Actually,
Right.
yeah. I feel like you and I tend to not want to like talk about a relationship publicly either that often.
I mean,
'Cause
I
do
don't
get-
mind.
Yeah, but I do get how like that can be a little like, oh gosh.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I don't like when. Well, I don't like when couples are just gushy over each other, and That's why I still have a problem with Valentine's Day, and I think that's why one of our first arguments came because I don't like. I don't like when couples shove in people's face that they're a couple and so in love. Where it's like people that were single, i.e., me for 28 years, just don't want to hear it because it's another reminder of, oh, you're still alone. Oh, no one will love you. And yeah, I lived that for 28
yeah.
years. So I don't need these reminders. Like I already know. Trust me, I already know I'm alone.
Oh yeah, no, I don't like publicly doing it too often, but I think like Valentine's Day is fun to celebrate.
I mean, you did change my opinion a little bit on it
Yeah.
because then I think we don't have to be posting about it or anything. And like that changed my mind about it then. I was like, okay, well, we can privately have like go out to dinner, do whatever, and enjoy each other's company, which is, I think, the real point of Valentine's Day. But
Even me, like I'm not a PDA person at all either. Like I don't like that. But if that's what they like and they feel good doing that, then I guess do it. It's fine. Like I've totally been in line for like roller coasters and people are just making out in front of me, and it's like okay, like really right here. But I mean, if that's what makes them happy, I guess go ahead and.
what? No, I would totally be like, gross.
No, it's disgusting. But I'm like, if they want to do it, then.
All for. I mean, yeah, all to you. I won't say anything, but I'll definitely say something behind their back. Like once we get off the roller coaster, be like, gosh, did you hear the slurping noises? Like, get a slushie.
Get a slushy.
Like, clearly you need oral fixation.
Oh, Eric Ziva says Hogwarts quizzes finds those more interesting.
Yeah, see, I like those type of quizzes a lot.
I mean, those are kind of like personality tests in a way too.
Oh, they totally are. But you know what though? I can sum down the 4 Harry Potter houses very simply. It's if you're kind of mean or if you're kind of arrogant, you're Slytherin. If you're kind of normal, kind of a good person, you're Gryffindor. If you're kind of a smart person or kind of like keen on organization, you're a Ravenclaw. And if you're kind of weird or not, well, yeah, if you're kind of weird or lazy, you're a Hufflepuff.
Tim, Hufflepuffs are known for their hardworking.
Well, then you'd be one of the weird ones. Because if you were really hardworking, you'd be a Ravenclaw.
I do like taking naps. It's part of my personality.
If you had like a character bio sheet in a video game, likes, naps, dislikes, awake.
See, the naps though help me be more hardworking. Because then once I get like that energy.
I haven't found that to be the case.
Oh yeah, Drea says Vaughn has sass. I love it.
Oh yeah,
Tim
I think
is.
if people really get to know me, I think I have some good wit to me.
Oh yeah, Tim's quick. I mean, Tim's like one of those people too that I feel like you can say random words really well too. That maybe I don't know. You just have a way of like saying random things that maybe aren't relevant, but they are so funny the way you say them too.
Oh,
Like I don't know. Tim can say like the word potato at just the right
oh,
time, and it makes
potato.
it funny. Yeah.
Well, that's because potato is my favorite word to say. If you guys really sound out potato, it's like potato. It's such a good gravelly word to say if you go lower. Potato.
I don't know.
Okay,
I feel like
we just passed the 10-minute mark.
oh god,
I'm
yeah.
switching
10
to more of
minutes.
the finer details. So I'm using my eraser. So this is where I'm going to start pulling some of the reverse contrast and some of the wrinkles. So if you want to use more of a finer tip or whatever you're doing, I'm just going to, like I said, this isn't a tutorial so much as it is a study. So I'm not going to go too much into how I'm doing things because I want this to be a learning experience as you're drawing your own and learning things, just from drawing. But I will edge things with this pencil.
Muna's Art Creations says, I'm glad I joined the stream. It has been ages since I managed to just sit and draw for a whole hour and stay focused.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
that is honestly why I want to do more of these follow alongs to get people to, draw more. And I think having other people to draw alongside is like a motivating, encouraging factor. So as much as I think I do have a certain level of sass, to me, I genuinely do care about people.
Oh my gosh,
I
Tim doesn't give himself enough credit either for how much of his time and energy he puts into other people too. You really do care and you really want to see people succeed. And I think you also acknowledge though, I think that maybe was your sass, but I think you acknowledge really well that people need to still have their own like heart and passion for it. You can't give
For
them
sure.
that. But when you notice people have that, you will invest into them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true.
I feel like you don't want to make people you're not the type you're not going to put time into someone that clearly
Is not putting in the time themselves.
Yeah, they have to show
Yeah.
that they want to put effort into it because you're not going to handhold them through that. But once they can hold their own hand and get that part done, then I feel like you're ready to like help them out.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, not only as like an artist, but I think as people, um, I think we should be more keen on trying to help each other out without the worry of I'm wasting my own time. Or at least maybe this is just a personal thing, but I want to help people more, knowing that I probably won't get much in return besides the satisfaction of feeling like, oh, I helped someone. But that's also not good either. You should do it just because you want to see someone else succeed. Because then you get into the trap of people that do charity work only because they want to post the picture of them doing the charity work online. And you're like, well, is the intention then really all there?
Do you feel like you judge your intentions though? Because
All the time.
you can, yeah, I overanalyze my intentions of things sometimes, and it makes me feel bad about myself then because I will realize sometimes you don't always do things with the purest of intentions.
Actually, I would say I don't, because if I don't feel like I'm being genuine, I
Yeah.
won't do it then.
I think my thing is though, of how did I say it? I don't know. I overthink about what I'm doing sometimes to the point of like, am I doing it for this intention though, or is this how it could come across?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I've always been pretty good about trusting my gut or like my
Oh yeah.
that feeling that you get when you make decisions.
Maybe this is just something INFPers can relate to.
Get out of here.
Andrea says hand holding is lewd. Censor it. Censor it. Yeah, we're definitely not PDA at all.
No.
Even hand holding, we're very like cautious of in public.
Well, I mean, not only the gay thing, but honestly, I don't think I would care. Kind of a random story, but I think maybe for those of you hearing that may need to hear this, the most liberating and what I would consider the bravest part that I've ever had to partake in was it was before I officially came out, and this was like 2015, I want to say. It was at Anime Milwaukee, and there was this boy that I met, and we were just it wasn't anything like gross or obscene. It was just we wanted to hang out, we wanted to go dancing at a club or at the rave that night, and it was kind of cute. But the I was still nervous because none of my friends knew, none of my family knew, And then I remember we were walking from the parking lot to pick up my clothes to the rave. And it was a really long walk to get there because you had to walk through not only the parking lot, but then there's a long stretch of alley, and then it's the hotel. And I remember as soon as we started walking in the parking garage, he grabbed my hand, or he offered his hand for me to grab. And I remember I had that moment of, oh, this is a big moment in my life right now. I could either not grab it because I'm afraid of, what people are going to think. And obviously, the way that the story is going, that I did grab his hand and we walked against the grain. So we were literally, everyone was walking toward the parking lot because the convention ended. And then here, me and him are walking in the middle with holding hands. So it was like this weird declaration. To me, that was my moment of coming out. Was
Oh, yeah.
holding this boy's hand, not only in public, but against a ton of people and a lot of people that would see me the next day at a con. If they went to the artist alley, they would see me. So it was like my weird declaration. I remember after that night, because I mean we didn't do it. We hung out, we danced, and then I went home. But I remember in my bed, I just had the biggest sense of pride. Or I don't know if pride's the right word. Of like almost satisfaction or gratification or feeling good about yourself.
Liberation, maybe.
Maybe,
I don't know.
yeah. I've never felt better about
Yeah.
myself than I did in that moment because it was a true challenge of putting yourself in a situation of fear and choosing to be brave. And obviously, we weren't shunned at, which was kind of nice. But we did have some people clap for us, which was it was very weird. But yeah.
Hmm.
But I think that's why even going through life, I now am I go into like third person mode a lot of how am I going to interact with this situation? How will this affect me?
Though, I mean, I think coming out publicly, like being able to show it, is like very liberating. It's hard.
Well,
But
especially when not even my roommates knew at that point.
yeah, so it's very.
Well, and that's the convention that Pui will, he'll never let this go because I feel so bad. But I left when I went to go to the parking lot. I left Pui at the rave, and he feels like I abandoned him.
Oh.
But if I was out at that time, I would have told him why I was leaving with this guy. He thought I was kidnapped. So if you ask Pui to this day about his situation at Milwaukee with the rave, he just does not have good feelings about it because he thought I was genuinely kidnapped by this random guy.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh
Poor
no.
Pui.
I know. I still feel, if there was any regret, I still feel it was not telling Pui or like coming out to Pui before then. But I wasn't ready. You know?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I had an experience like that.
It was like a very obvious situation where you could be brave and you took it.
Oh yeah. It never was with like someone I was dating or anything like that. Kind of like you. I don't know. I can't. I don't think I can pinpoint a situation. Yeah, I don't know. I never, because even like the first person I ever dated was not touchy at all. So like we never held hands in public or anything. I don't know. I always wanted it more, but yeah, I never like had like a liberating like that in that way. Hang on, let's get caught up on something.
Got a minute and a half left, guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I feel, Josh. Like Josh, and then what I think it's imposter syndrome where you do something generally, but then you overthink it and get so afraid that others will think you did it with bad intentions. Yeah, I do that a lot. Then that you think you are. Yeah, I can kind of overanalyze the situation and be like, I think people could see it in this way though, and I make that almost like a real, like that's why I did it then. Drea says, yeah, I just imagine being homeless, had a shower in months, living in garbage, and some goody on YouTube has a camera in your face. Oh yeah, Drea says, that visual, I need to draw it to your little hand holding.
Wait, what?
Oh, Drea says, oh, that visual, I need to draw it.
No, what was the before one?
Drea says, I just imagine being homeless, not had a shower in months, living in garbage, and some goody on YouTube has a camera in your face.
What's the context of this?
Maybe just about intentions of things sometimes. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, Drew, you might have to elaborate on that.
Yeah, sorry. We ranted a lot. 30 seconds.
Trying to get my final value.
Oh, wait, actually, I know I missed something. Oh, yeah, that's right. So, Valschmerz says the name is Eddie. That'll be easier than saying that. So hello, Eddie. We have
Hello,
5
Eddie.
seconds. Oh yeah, but do you guys have any tattoos? We don't have any tattoos, either of us. 0
Timer.
seconds. Let me click the button. Hang on, sorry for the binge. Okay. Yeah, neither of us have tattoos.
No, I doubt I'll ever get a tattoo. I know the one that I always joke about getting is I want to get a really, really small line with indents, and it would act as a ruler, just because I need a ruler so often when I'm out and about or like going. So if I could just do it on my arm and just line it up really quick. But once I think that goes back to me being very practical minded. But I don't know. I like Sean was a tattoo artist. I lived with him for a while, and he has my favorite tattoos because the way he describes it is they're dumb. They are party animals on him. They're conversation starters. They make people feel more at ease with him. So I really like Sean's explanation of tattoos.
Oh, all right. So yeah, everyone feel free to start posting your pictures
Oh, that's right.
in the Discord under current events, stream follow along. Actually, everyone's throwing them in already. You guys are quick.
So I could even tell with my feet already. It's probably because I talk too much, but I would want to do a little bit more of the wrinkles. I can tell that I got a little sidetracked.
Oh, Dan says, hi, I'm a fan from, is it the Philippines? I don't know, it's PH. I just subscribed as well. Do you know any Filipino artist?
Oh, my best friend is Filipino. Kat is half white, half Filipino, and she's my best friend. She does fitness though. Kat Moosney Fitness, and she's amazing. Okay, but I know we gotta get ready for the critique, right? So I gotta switch to this side.
Oh yeah. So Drea says, talking about why people do things. These people on YouTube act like they care for the homeless, but are they really thinking about how they feel?
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I get the context.
Oh yeah, Eddie, I will give you a link Sean's Instagram right now.
I'm gonna turn my Cintiq on. Actually, as we're switching over, grab Discord. I need this. So yeah, if you want me to do a quick critique, I'm gonna try to go a lot faster though. I feel like I was really going slow last time. Oh, you know what? Wait. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick before we start this. Put this over here. Josh, if you can entertain them, probably talk more about INFP.
Oh gosh.
Be really quick. Then we'll talk about feet.
Oh, all the feet are coming in. Oh, look at all these feet. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I feel like personality stuff, some people are interested, some people aren't. I always find it interesting though. Oh, yeah, but there's Sean's Instagram for you, Eddie. Thanks for your streams. I followed so many artists I had no idea about. Oh yeah, I mean, definitely getting to know Tim. It's been fun to meet some of these other artists now too. There's some interesting people. I like them all. And it's fun too. I feel like since I like music more, it's been fun to kind of get an understanding of art more too. And it's cool to just see people's art and then learn their personalities too. Because sometimes you can almost concede like their personalities in their work. So I think that's really been fun to get to know more as I train my brain to see art more. Oh, hello, Artie Darts. I love personality stuff. I didn't get to talk too much because I was focused, but I was laughing along. Well, I'm so happy. Yeah, I think this is probably the most like Tim and I talking about each other's stream too. So sorry if that's annoying, because I know that can sometimes be a little, a little too much. Oh, Exeva, tell us Well, your deepest secret, fears, and favorite Disney villain. Um, my favorite Disney villain is probably Jafar. Yeah, probably Jafar. No, wait, is Jafar the villain guy, right? From Aladdin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Jafar.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I went very red today.
Okay, so what time is it? Oh, we're already
4:03.
past our 2 hour mark. I feel like these might always be a little over just because of doing the critiques.
Oh, yeah, no, it's...
So I'm only going to bring a few of them into Photoshop, the ones that I think I could really mention more. So we'll kind of go through these a bit quicker. So
Oh,
these
this
are all
is
the
so fun.
warm-ups.
There's so many, yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
so fun. I'm happy like
Okay,
a lot of people
okay, okay.
participate it.
So looking at Drea right away, these are fantastic. You're really nailing down the shapes. I like how much you actually did more than I did. I wish I did this more triangle shapes. And I really like the ones where you can see the bottom of the foot on the straightforward one. So very good warm-ups. Maybe I won't talk about the warm-ups as much. Yep, just make sure you want to keep them loose. Like even these, like still focus more on the shapes. I do this too where my teacher used to call it chicken scratching. You try to edge out the entire shape of an object by doing like short little scratch marks. So I think really, and trust me, I don't do this either, so I'm yelling at myself too. Focus more on the shape language and simplify things. And even if it doesn't fully look like a the foot, you can see with some of these how they're going more for the impression of a foot in the gesture. Oh, and see, here's a very academic way of doing the foot. And this is actually something I should do more too, which is blocking out more more shapes, even if it doesn't fully feel real. You're creating the underlying structure, the bones within the foot, and you're focusing more on those. More on a J.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Okay, so then these are the real ones.
Yes.
Okay, so this is, Sarah said she had to stop halfway. So then looking at, actually I like that you blocked out the background. Actually, these aren't bad, Sarah. For someone that says you hate doing them, you're not bad at
Those
them.
wrinkles look good too.
You know what this part of the foot, if you ever remember the end of Beauty and the Beast where he turns into a man or a prince after being a beast, they really accentuate the palmy fleshy part of the foot, and they line them, or they line out the circles part. That's what this kind of reminds me of. No, I think these are pretty good feet. Jensen, ballpoint pen is my favorite traditional medium. Ooh. Yeah, there's some great stuff going on here. I like how you really accentuated the curves of where the next structure kind of meets. I love actually.
Yeah, it's double screening. I think this is the timer. Just hide that
Oh
one.
yeah.
It's being weird. Thank you, Drea.
Yeah, Jensen, I think this is fantastic. I think my only well, no, actually, I like your style. I think just keep doing more of this. I like seeing how you're pushing and pulling a lot of the shapes in the shadows. I feel you're working a lot, even though you're working with a ballpoint pen, you're able to capture midtones really well, which can be really difficult with pen. So I'm actually pretty proud of you on this. This looks really good. Books dust. Ooh. I think this is a very good representation of them. I think my next challenge for you would start pushing the contrast in certain areas. I mean, I know this is more of a study, so you don't want to make it maybe too far off from the original reference. But I think my challenge for you would be like looking at the bottom of the left foot, so here, and really pushing darker values. Because if you look at the reference image, you can see how it has more of that fleshy redness to it. And I think capturing that in here would work wonders for you. And even making sure like there isn't too much of a shadow here underneath the foot on the reference, and I think it's because our mind wants there to be more of a shadow because there's a object on top. But just be aware and mindful of where your light sources are, and I think that would help out. I'm so glad so many people. I was afraid that people would not want to draw feet because of how weird the stigma of drawing feet is, or are.
Which is unfortunate, but
is. Oh, and I guess I should mention now before people start leaving the stream is if there's something you want to do a study of, honestly submit it to the stream follow along, and I'm very open to doing studies of different objects, and I think doing these real life studies help people maybe see or analyze things differently. So I am definitely more than open to doing studies of your suggestions.
It'd be fun to do interpretations of the personality types.
So from Eris,
Hmm.
ooh, very soft feet. So I think with these, you're definitely doing what I do a lot, which is pushing the background darker. I think I want to see a bit more variety within the actual feet, so pushing some of the darkness and the wrinkles within them. And I think there's a little bit of proportion issues, very minor, but I would just focus on them a little bit here. I mean, even with this leg feels a little thick. Um, Overall, though, oh, you know what? I think more wrinkles on the bottom of this foot too, because I really tried to like twist my foot to get more of the wrinkles apparent. But usually feet are really difficult for people, so I'm kind of impressed that you guys.
Yeah, these are all great.
Like they don't look super weird. I think for this one, I can already tell immediately it feels a little long. At least this foot does. This foot feels better in proportion. I like how you're doing the values. I think for you is like focusing on the secondary forms, kind of like how Jensen like really accentuated them, like showing more of the ridge on this part of the foot, and then the how the I mean you kind of do it on this side here. It's almost like you're hinting at the forms, and I think I want to give you permission to fully go for it and like push more of the wrinkles. And I think even with the shading, I would push the feet to be have more of a mid-tone throughout, because I think there isn't a value that's kind of representing um, the feet at like the original. I'm forgetting the word. I know what it's called, but it's when usually this is a color term. I think it's the hue identity when we're talking about color, or when we're talking about grayscale, or grayscale. I think having a tone that represents the entire subject matter and then pushing lights and shadows on it would help out, because right now I can't really tell the mid-tone or the hue identity, if we want to say that, for the feet. But I do like how you did push a lot of the wrinkles, and you're working with different values. I think just having more of that mid-tone would help out. Ooh, Ian. Wow, these are great. I really like the chunkiness of the wrinkles. That's what the thing I wanted to do with mine when the stream ends, is push more of the chunkiness. These are great.
Oh, that right foot too. I love that there.
Mm-hmm. So I think this was also a good challenge, and a lot of you actually hit it, is focusing more on how wrinkles really define feet. And I think when people draw feet, they forget about the wrinkles, and that's what makes them look weird. But so far, everyone's done a really good job at pushing the wrinkles, and even here, how you really push this mid-tone value throughout here, and then selectively used a darker value to help accentuate the edging. Very well done. This one's great. Good job, Ian. Hey, Zedric. I hit the top of the paper when I started.
Oh.
I've definitely been there before. So I think with yours, I like that you started to seem to add the wrinkles. I would just keep adding them, and then it feels very smooth, which could be a style choice, so I'm not going to knock you on that. But I would definitely focus on having a little variation, like even in the top of this foot here, you can see how there's two very smooth planes on the top of the foot, where if you look at the reference image, how they're a little more bumpy, like a little more bulbous looking. And I think when artists have more of a smooth look to their stuff, we forget about the little subtleties or the nuances. And with the human body, there's a lot of push and pulls from bones that are being seen from the outside of the skin, because they're pressing through. So I think I want to see just a little bit more of that, because usually when we shade in a very smooth way, it's pushing in one direction back and forth. But I think when you're pushing, if you're doing that, you should also push in the other direction, and then make sure you're kind of doing like a cross hatching type rendering. That way you're getting more of the form of it. Because right now I don't really feel the cylinderness. I know that's not a word, but you know what I mean, of the legs. So I want to see that a bit more. But I like how you were confident. This has a really good mid-tone to it, in my opinion. And I think just pushing more of the opposite style of shading. Because even some people will let the strokes be seen, or the pencil strokes or brush strokes, because just having the direction of the brush will help add to the illusion of the form. Man, there were a lot of feet.
Ooh.
Oh, was I looking at a lot of in progress ones too? Oops. My bad, my bad. Because I know I talked about Eris. Oh, but you did a lot of what I mentioned out before.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I should only look at the ones after 4 p.m. then. Learning experience. So yes, this is working more on the subtleties that I was talking about, and I think you did a good job. Honestly, I think from here it would maybe be looking at pushing some of the highlights, but that honestly minor critique, because that I think could be done with just using your eraser and pushing just a couple areas where it's the brightest on the image. But honestly, good job. This is Felix.
I like that the warm ups are up there too.
Oh yeah, I think you are another one that really did a good job with doing like mid-tones in the wrinkles, and they feel very chunky. I like chunky wrinkles on a foot. You can kind of see the difference between shading styles on this foot and the bottom one, and how on this one it has a very smooth, almost finger blend way, and kind of like what I was mentioning before, how it loses some of that form, because when you go sometimes super smooth, it can lose that. Where the areas that are a little more rough, it feels like it has more form to it. And that's not saying that smooth is always bad. I mean, you see artists like Eliza who really push forms with her blender stump, and it looks amazing, it looks phenomenal. But I think here I really like what you did with the more rougher texture part of the rendering. I think the top of the toes could use a little more distinction between one another. I think they feel a little flat, like pressed, almost like frog feet, how they have a little bit more of a ploppiness to the bottoms of them. I think the right foot, though, looks pretty great. Yeah. Hungry panda. Your little blue. So this one, I do feel like this is where the proportions are a little off. I think just even with the foot, I think pushing, you see how all the toes kind of line up on the same plane or the same line. But if you look at the reference, it does have kind of a curve and an arc to them. And then even with this, the what is this part? The sole of the foot? Is that what this is? I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
The sole of the foot feels very small, and the top feels much larger. So I think this is more of a proportion thing that I would critique you on most. Especially with this foot here as well. I mean, I like that you seem to be not as shy about using values, which is good. But I think for you, I think the challenge will be focusing on proportion. So I think a good thing you could do is even bring both feet into Photoshop, lay your drawing over the original photo, and just see where your proportions are off. And that way you can kind of analyze and constructively critique where your proportions and anatomy might be off and how to fix them the next time you do something similar to this. Eric's. So, okay, I think with this, I like how you're edging out the different shapes, the different shadow shapes. I think for you, the wrinkles seem to be kind of tricky, especially on the right side. This, these don't feel, I mean, they definitely feel a little bit like wrinkles, but the fact that they kind of just stop and then you don't see them as apparent on this side of the foot, it makes them feel a little out of place. I think you did a pretty good job with proportions though. Maybe some more spacing between the pinky and the second finger or toe. I think also more of a curve with the toes. I think that would help a touch. And then same thing before where I think we want the bottom of the foot to be lighter, but you can see in the reference how there's such a redness, such a fleshiness to it that I would push the value here darker. But overall, you did a good job with the proportions. I think it's just like those minor little edits. And then I think if you were given more time, you could have elaborated more on the details. Jamie Lynn. Ooh. So I like that you're very bold with how you're rendering. Though, I mean, this could be a stylistic choice, but to me, it almost reads as metallic. I think because the contrasts are so high. Usually when doing a shiny surface like metallics, they have a very high contrast with a dark value pushing right up against a light value. And you have a lot of that going on here, so it almost reads as if the feet have been spray painted with a chrome paint. And I think the way to help alleviate that is to soften some of the values, unless if this was a choice. I mean, this could be a style, so I don't want to push you on that. But I think if I was just critiquing it just on a realism point, I think making actually this one might be the one I bring into Photoshop. Because I think for this one, just making a lot of the midtones more apparent and then not having the whites of the feet be as large and distinguished, that can help it make it look less chromy and more like a skin. Because when working with grayscale, it can be very difficult doing human skin because oftentimes it's the small value shifts that will give us the impression of skin more so than the larger contrasts will. So, as an example, let me quickly... Yeah, I think when I do these critique streams, I might go through everyone's, but I think there might be just a couple I'll bring into Photoshop to help maybe bring home a point that I'm trying to make. But it's very encouraging to see how many of you are doing these follow-alongs.
Oh yeah, there's been some good compliments on it too. Brazilla says, I love these streams so much. It is so motivating.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Do we have any suggestions on what people would want to see?
Yeah, actually, Felix just did one. Felix was saying, how about a stream on shoulders and arms?
Ooh, okay. We could do that next week then. Oh wait, next week is my Kickstarter launch.
Are you doing a Wednesday stream, you think, like this? Or more of a card release?
We'll probably do a release one. You know what, then we could do the arm one on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So next Tuesday we'll do this stream, the follow along stream, and then Wednesday will be Are you planning? Do you think you might
Actually, I might make
stream on Wednesday?
No, I definitely will.
You do? Okay.
I think next Wednesday will be our giveaway stream. So if you guys are a member, if you're following me on YouTube, so if you see the link below, and you can get access to the exclusive emojis, but also you can be entered to win the giveaways that we're going to be doing next week. I'll probably have 5 enamel pins, metal pins I should say, that we'll give away live on the stream.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to be one of the people available to win those, you just have to become a member. And I'll let everyone know next Wednesday before it begins, so if you want your chance to enter. And you don't even have to be at the stream because I'll just contact you on YouTube afterwards. Okay, so you can see the difference before and after, how we're slowly creating more of the mid-tone to be the dominant tone throughout. And then the highlights are more minimal, and that way it helps the feet look less chrome. Next one is Muna Lizard. Says, I haven't drawn for 10 years. Thank you for the occasion, guys. Wow, for 10 years?
Wow. Or haven't drawn like this for 10 years? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, these are pretty great. If you haven't drawn like this for 10 years, I can definitely tell you still have a confidence to the way you draw. Like you're pushing a lot of these very strong edges and you're making them dark. I think my critique would be a lot of these pencil strokes, sometimes when you leave them open, it could be a style choice. Or if you push them in the direction of the form that's underneath, it can help give the illusion of the form. Because sometimes when you do lines that are straight down, it can make it look really flat. But if you do it in the direction and make them a little darker on this side, then dark on this side, it can just give the illusion of a cylinder, which is the leg. And then I think I get a little lost in some of the wrinkles here, but I do like that you did edge them out pretty well. Like I can see the general underlying shapes. I think it's just learning how to transition from one value to the next would be the challenge for you. Because even with like this here, sometimes the academic way of doing shading is having the darkest value right where the light meets the shadow. And that's if there's a really good bounce light. But since the light source from the photo is more overhead, it really has more of a soft pillow diluted shading that goes from the center out. And that will create more of a softness to it. So yeah, good job, Moon. Man, so many feet, so many feet. Ella says, tried to really push myself and go color, but I didn't really have the time to do what I needed with it. I mean, honestly, oh well, I mean, these are can be a little easier where you can just color pick from the preference. So I think I'll judge you more on the placement of your tones, and your proportions look good. I think looking back and forth, I think for you, I think you just needed more time. I think there's a lot of detail that could be added, a lot of hard edges that you weren't able to get to it. So it looks very soft, and things feel very good in terms of where you're placing the color. But I think for you, it'd be the challenge of edging out, especially the wrinkles on the back heel here.
I like the
I would
color
define
there
them more.
a lot.
The what?
I like the color a lot on the heel.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good.
Yeah, so usually, I mean, for those of you who want to do more digital painting, this is a great example of using a reference as, like, let's say you're doing a character. I would still use a reference of a person, even if it's yourself, to pull from the colors from, because you get these more, fleshy, more accurate looking tones, because skin is just not one color. And it's not just like I mean, if it's a fair colored person, it's not just like a tan and then a black mixed with tan and a white mixed with tan. You want to throw in, those reds, those yellows, those greens, those purples to create the illusion of skin, which can be pretty difficult. So yeah, good job, Bella. Eunuch, the more I knows how lost I am with shading in pencil. And don't feel pressured where you have to use this pencil, but I'm glad you guys are at least trying it. See how I failed with the heel area. Very unhappy with the wrinkles. To be honest, this isn't that bad. I think you're being too harsh on yourself. I think you did a good job at eyeing some of the proportions. I think there are some things that are a little off, like the top of this foot feels too skinny for the heel. But the way that you separated like the pinky from the second toe feels pretty accurate, and how the second toe here is taller than both of these. I think you did a good job at like aspects throughout it. I think overall the proportions need to be pushed, and I think it has to be pushed over this way. But I like how you defined a lot of your areas with that mid tone. It's kind of like we're talking about. And since you worked so light, you're having kind of the opposite problem of a lot of these other artists where your I wouldn't even make the whole foot dark because your highlights don't read too much as a highlight. Your light areas actually read as your mid tone, and where you're pushing the shadows, they're actually very light. But since your shadows are so light, your mid tones, which are not even really present, feel accurate. So in this case, I think for you, it's just looking more at those small proportion issues, and then continuing just to do more of the this mid-tone rendering, which I think is lovely. I think you just need more time. Yeah. Sayawi says, feel heavy on the shading and wrong proportions. Okay, I think you guys are being very harsh on yourselves. These are not that wildly wrong. I think looking at the legs, I think they're a little thicker than they should be. But I really like how you guys are looking at separating the forms and the wrinkles, and you really defined and edged them out without it being like hard lines. And the toes feel good on this one. This one, I think they need a little correction. I think especially the line on the second toe is far too long. And I think when you do a box around every toenail, it can make them look strange. I think that's something I do where I'll take a kneaded eraser and lift it so it's not as heavy of an outline on the nails. And the other thing is with the ankle, try to avoid doing the single line ankle. Try to shade it out because I think this is what can make it look cartoony or animated. But I think if you look at the the reference photo and then look at yours, you can see how it doesn't really have that defined line. It's definitely a darker value, but it's blended in more. But I think we need to work on you guys not being so harsh on yourselves. I'm not super happy with my wrinkles. Okay, with this one, I think there are the proportion issues, especially with this being a little too wide, and the overlap feels kind of strange. But I can see what you mean with the wrinkles. I think this was a challenge for you because even with this foot, you can see how, you know what, this one I'll bring into Photoshop. I think with this one, you know what, is my reference image? Oh, it's over there. Okay. So I'm just gonna point out some things. I won't do like a full redraw, but I think on yours, you can see how this wrinkle isn't so much like that of a curve, it's more down. And I think having this very dark line here is trying to separate it because there's that wrinkle here, but you should be focusing more on that more fleshy under part of the foot there. And then same with the palm or the heel. This line doesn't exist in the reference except for it's a little higher. But then this one, I would almost take out and I would focus more on darkening up the heel because I think a lot of you wanted to lighten up the heel, but as you can see in the reference, I have a very fleshy heel because a lot of the times or actually I would say most people have a very fleshy bottom of the heel, and since we're stepping on it, sometimes it can be a little more red or a little darker. So I think representing that, even though it's in light, can be tricky because oftentimes we think if something's in a light source, it has to be lighter, but that's not always the case. And I think the proportions on this foot for sure need to be pushed in, and it should have more of a shape. So this is where having a good warm-up would help you out, or more of a shaping things out more, because you can see how actually even with the legs, this one crosses over and this foot goes more straight down, or no, I guess it does have more of a curve like that. So I think having this initial shape before you start rendering would help out. So just be aware of your foundation before taking that next step. Rad, need another pass for darker values. I agree. I think your proportions look pretty good. I think there's a little weirdness here. I think you should show more that the toes are going under the heel. It almost looks like the heel is like pushing into the foot. But yeah, I think you need more time. I think working a little faster, maybe smaller, maybe you worked a little big and that's what the time constraints were hurting you with. And I think pushing more of the dark values, but I think you already know that. But yeah, the proportions look pretty good. Yeah, and then definitely the same thing as the last one, make that heel darker. And you don't have to go super dark because I like how you're edging out some of these chunky wrinkles and they look really good because they're not just, you know, single slit wrinkles. They're broken up and they create more Y wrinkles. So those look great. So many feet. Michaela came in 30 minutes late. That's okay. Same thing. I think I would make the heel a little darker. Up here, it looks a little rocky, almost like too organic, or not non-organic, where it feels very, you know, almost constructed. Like if a person had toes made out of rocks. So I think for you, I'd focus, like you do a pretty good job at shading here. I would carry that up here because it feels very sharp. And it's almost like contrasting the very softness here. The wrinkles, I think, definitely seem to give you a challenge. I think even with the toes here, I would focus a little more. I mean, you kind of did some of it, but I would focus more on separating them, less with line and more with your shading. And then definitely on the foot here, you barely like whispered the value shift, but I think you could have pushed that a bit further too. Woof. Okay, we're almost at the end. Eva, it was more difficult than drawing hands. I tried to improve my edges. Ooh, and you even did the cloth. Look at that. Yeah, proportions look pretty good. I think with yours, yeah, there's like minor things. Like the highlight on the inside of this foot here, you can see how there's a little bit of that line. I think just adding that in. And honestly, I think my biggest critique for you is something that I was told when I was in college is everything's a little too soft. I would start looking at areas where you can add just a little bit of tightness between where the values meet. Because right now, I mean, I can kind of see it here, but it's still so soft. And even with the wrinkles, I think what really defines wrinkles is areas of soft gradations mixed with points of like heavy contrast where a light source ends and a shadow begins. And a good place to even point out is like the wrinkle up here on the cloth. I know you probably didn't put a lot of attention to the cloth, but having a very defined, you can see how in the reference image it almost looks like a white strip that's very, very powerful and very edged out. And I would carry that into yours. Very good midtones. I think you do an excellent job with that. I think now pushing just a little bit more on the highlights, just a touch, and then edging out with a little more sharpness. Larissa. Ooh. Yeah, these are kind of fun. I think for you, I think the same thing with proportions. I think looking at the initial shapes before you dive into it, especially like this ankle feels really large compared to the top of the foot. And then I think you're getting the same padding like a frog, where I like that you're adding that some dimension to the fingertips and the pads of the fingers. But I think it looks so flattened. It's like the foot's pressing against glass, and it creates kind of that flat illusion on the feet. So I do like how you're edging out some of the shadows, but it does feel a little lost. I can't fully define, like if I didn't have the reference image, I wouldn't fully know some of these shapes and how they're belonging to the form. But I think that will just take some time because I like how you're constructing it. I think just refining it a bit more will help you out. Oh my gosh, there are so many today. Emin from Crimea. I've never heard of Crimea. Or I'm probably saying that so wrong.
Crimea? Oh.
Crimea? Ooh. Oh, you're working very small. Yeah, these look great. In terms of proportion, I think they look good. I think, minor things like having that pinky toe separated more from the second toe. I think your values, I can tell you were building them up, but I think pushing the darker ones, especially on this part of the heel, kind of like most people on the bottom of this heel more. I think the leg gets a little thicker. And then I can tell you started edging out some of the wrinkles, but I think having way more on the bottom of this foot may have helped you out. But I know that can be difficult working smaller. I work small too, so I kind of understand that. But I think at least trying it out and pushing for those tertiary details more, I think will help you out. And then Daria, probably too many wrinkles. Oh well. No, I wouldn't say too many wrinkles. I think you have a very this is like early 1900s, kind of a bit more impressionistic way of rendering them. I think proportions feel a little off, especially like this toe feels like it's joining or it's jolted in a different direction. I think your values also feel not rooted to a specific light source. It kind of just feels like, well, this is the edge, so I'll round it out. I would focus more on where you're adding your values, especially like the underside of the toes. You can see in the reference image, especially this toe, it's actually much darker than, well, actually all 5 toes have more of a mid-tone value, but it's darker than the bottom of the foot. I think what might help you guys is either bringing references into Photoshop and grayscaling them, or doing more squint tests where you really just look for the values. Because on yours, I'm not really seeing consistent mid-tone, and that's where the values can get kind of lost. Whew, okay, and from Artit, fast one. Oh, these are always lovely. I always like negative and subtractive drawing. Yeah, proportions look pretty good. Obviously, I think you just needed maybe more time and to push it further. But I like what you got here. I think seeing a whole image and like a whole character in this reverse would be really cool. Okay, I think we got through all. Woo! Man, these are great. I am always so impressed with how many people join in with these every week. So I think, yeah, next Tuesday we'll do the arms and the shoulders. And then on Friday of this week, I'll be interviewing Pete Moorbacher. So if you want to come learn about his journey and who he is as an artist, maybe some tips on how to make money as doing art, because he does quite well for himself. And I think that's all I got. Okay, yeah, any last words?
No, just thank you, everyone. I know there was some interesting discussions today, so thanks for everyone participating. And it was fun to get to know everyone's personality types, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you on Friday. But if not, take care and have a good rest of your day.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Oh, that stretch.
Bye.